In a world where the stakes are higher, the risks are greater, and the dangers couldn't be more enticing, there's only one man you can count on. One name, one number, no equal. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the 35th anniversary celebration of Timothy Dalton's first foray into the James Bond franchise, simply known as The Living Daylights, directed by John Glenn, released on this very day in 1987. This is when Timothy Dalton stepped in to the role of James Bond. This is his first adventure in his short tenure as the suave, sophisticated secret agent 007. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and joining us on this panel, we got a few guests that are going to be joining us tonight. And also, just to give you a heads up, if you are watching this movie along with us and you want to share your favorite memories, your fun facts, some stories, anything and everything James Bond, we want to hear about it in the comments, in the live chat, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this on the replay. Let us know your thoughts and your feelings about this film, The Living Daylights, starring Timothy Dalton. We would love to hear from you. But joining me on this adventure by watching The Living Daylights is a first timer on these types of shows, first timer here in the Nerd Culture Studios. Please give a warm welcome to Dylan. Dylan, welcome to the program. How are you tonight, good sir?
Hi, I'm doing quite well, thanks.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for being with us here, Dylan. We greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to like, share this video with all 200 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching this 35th anniversary celebration of The Living Daylights, I guarantee it. With that being said, before we get things going, we want to let you know that if you are watching this on a streaming service or a physical copy, cue it up to the 3-second mark. That is where we are going to start, but we have not hit the play button just yet. Before we do, I want to give you a chance to get to know our panel just a little bit better. Since Dylan is in the room, I'm going to ask you this, Dylan. How did you first come across the James Bond universe? And also, what were your thoughts going in to see The Living Daylights?
Well, I'm a 90s kid, so I spent like a lot of time at my friend's house. We played GoldenEye. I saw GoldenEye. I kind of grew up with the Brosnan films. Um and then I kind of skipped out on Craig, but I definitely would like to go back and kind of watch some of the Craig movies, but I guess it's just I still have lots of fond memories of GoldenEye on the N64. That was definitely my introduction, and that was yeah, definitely an interesting, introduction to it, because I'm thinking of how like the James Bond, gaming franchise portion of it has kind of been this kind of hot mess ever since because of like licensing and stuff like that. But yeah, as for the introduction to seeing the Dalton era, because I did go back, I watched some Roger Moore and Sean Connery Bond films. But what's interesting is that Dalton actually looks a fair amount like Pierce Brosnan. Um, Physically, and I it kind of makes sense as to why Brosnan was cast after him. But one of the things I also think is more interesting is how, um, unlike the Brosnan movies, where M kind of chews out Bond for his behavior, this kind of plays it a little bit more straight.
Mm-hmm.
Reflection of kind of evolving cultural attitudes. So yeah.
No, well, there you go, there you go, and that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, for me, my first journey into the James Bond universe was watching the film Goldeneye in 1995 with my dad. He took me to the theater to see it originally back in 1995. Granted, I was sort of kind of exposed to the James Bond films a little bit before Goldeneye came out because he was a big fan of the early eras, specifically Sean Connery. He's a big fan of the film Goldfinger. He had that on VHS. He was watching it a couple of times as I was growing up. I may have come across it as he was watching it, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I didn't really care much for it at that time. But when he took me to the movie theater and you're sitting in a theater and you're watching the James Bond, first James Bond film for me anyway, in full, full silver screen, cinemascope, whatever, I was blown away, no pun intended. I really like this film. I think Goldeneye is fantastic. I think Pierce Brosnan was a great actor for the franchise. I enjoyed 3 out of the 4 films that he was in, but that's a discussion for another day entirely. But I do remember playing the video game, as you pointed out just a moment ago, about playing GoldenEye on N64. Still a popular game to this day. 26 years later when the game came out. So it's been 26 years since that was released. Gee whiz, time flies when you're having fun. But when it comes to this film, specifically The Living Daylights, I didn't watch the Timothy Dalton era until many, many, many years later. Because I was so used to watching the Pierce Brosnans, the Sean Connerys, the one-time George Lazenby. I watched Live and Let Die from Roger Moore, and I was like, that's not really my James Bond. I'm sorry, no. So one Roger Moore film was enough. But I went in and watched the Timothy Dalton films, and I thought, my goodness, this is very different from some of the other Bond films I've seen. And the other thing was, when I did a little bit of research and I was, reading up on how Timothy Dalton approached this role, he wanted to take it back to the roots, because James Bond doesn't really, he's not the most humorous character. He takes his job very seriously. He's grittier, he's grizzled. In this iteration of James Bond featuring Timothy Dalton, he's kind of tired of being a spy. He's tired of being a secret agent. He wants to get away from this and quit doing certain things and move on with his life. So you get a sense of that while you're watching this film, The Living Daylights, and even more so in License to Kill, which came out just 2 years later for Timothy Dalton in 1989, which that anniversary will be here before we know it in just a few years. Stay tuned, more to come. But The Living Daylights, I thought, you know what? This was a different film. This was very much different, but I respected that, and I respected what Timothy Dalton brought to the role. In many ways, I feel that Timothy Dalton's iteration of the character, he got into this. His films were, what am I trying to say? They were way ahead of their time. They were ahead of their time because we got way more of it in the Daniel Craig era, which, hey, a certain film is starring Daniel Craig, celebrates an anniversary a little bit later this year, so stay tuned for that as well. It's a James Bond theme here. What can I tell you? So even so, those are my thoughts on how I got into the James Bond universe. Those are some of my thoughts on The Living Daylights. But nonetheless, let's dive into this. Let's start watching The Living Daylights. Now, once again, for those of you who may be interested, if you want to watch this with us along in the comfort of your own home or wherever it is that you're at, whether you're on streaming service or physical media, we are going to start it at the 3-second mark, and we will give you a countdown as to when to hit the play button on your device. With that being said, I think Dylan and I are ready to have a vodka martini, shaken, not stirred, and we have a license to chill and enjoy this movie. So, Dylan, you ready to go?
Yep.
Excellente. So, on the count of 3, 2, 1, hit play. Let's start watching this thing. Let's see here. Yep. There we go. So the MGM logo has just vanished. We got the United Artists logo coming up right now as we start the film. So the opening titles are going to start. And every James Bond likes to start with the gun barrel sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So Timothy Dalton's stance is taking a bit of a knee or kneeling a little bit and shooting at the camera. That's how he does it. Okay. All right, gun barrel exits. Now we're in the thick of things now.
Yep.
This is actually the Rock of Gibraltar where they filmed this.
Huh.
Opening sequence. Yes. Yes. That's what they did. So we have M here is addressing a group of 00 agents on this plane that is flying over. So that's what we got here. I believe the actor's name, if I'm remembering this right, is Bernard Lee. Plays the role of M in these films, or at least in these 2 films that I know of. So yeah, there you go. Bernard Lee. I'm not used to seeing him or M, any iteration of M, wearing a armed forces kind of outfit. Normally he's used to wearing just a suit.
Yeah.
But in this one he's actually wearing the British Secret Service and the armed forces. So. Wow, look at this stunt. 3 different guys jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. But at least they have parachutes.
Definitely.
Interesting way to introduce. And they actually said that they wanted to do this to introduce the new James Bond by having 3 men who looked like previous iterations of the character.
Yeah.
To jump out of this plane. So that's how they did that. Not too much design to those parachutes, though. And there he goes, landing on the ground. Safe and sound. There goes one. There goes two. Hmm. Pretty quick. Oh, this one lands in the tree.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm just noticing like the iconic James Bond theme. I think it was Monty Norman who did it. Like,
well, John Barry originally composed it.
So John Barry composed it because Norman wrote the theme, but yeah, John Barry arranged it. And
right, yeah, that's right. You're right. I was mixing up the things there, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, but like,
there you go. Do you like the James Bond theme? Do you think it's? Do you think you think you can listen to it over and over again and get a good kick out of it, or do you think it's a bit too much?
It's so like, I mean, it's iconic. It's been in every film, and like, I'm thinking about how many iterations of it, how it kind of becomes the underscore in a lot of other pieces of music, and how easily it can do that. So, I definitely think that it's a strong theme because you can just kind of have that theme play, and having that is important, especially just because it's so catchy.
Agreed.
Like right now, yeah, it's here comes the theme back in, and
and then we introduce the new James Bond with it being Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
And you're right, him and Pierce Brosnan look very, very similar. But at the same time, here's a little behind the scenes for you. They wanted Pierce Brosnan to be in these films originally, but due to his contract with the television series he was on at the time, Remington Steele, they renewed it for another season, so he couldn't get out of his contract to be a part of the Living Daylights. And then the Cubby Broccoli, one of the co-producer of this franchise, once said James Bond is not Remington Steele, and Remington Steele is not James Bond. So they went back to Timothy Dalton because they've wanted him for many, many years. Originally, they went as far back as 1969's on Her Majesty's Secret Service to get Timothy Dalton to play James Bond, but Timothy Dalton said to Cubby Broccoli, I'm too young. I'm only 24, and James Bond needs to be older. He needs to be more seasoned than just being a secret agent in his mid-20s. Yeah. So he turned down the role several times. He turned it down for Her Majesty's Secret Service. He turned it down during certain films that were coming out during the Roger Moore era because they kept going back to him because Cubby Broccoli really wanted Timothy Dalton, but he just couldn't do it because either he felt he was too young or Timothy Dalton said he was too busy with other projects at the time. But then when Remington Steele got renewed for another season, Pierce Brosnan got roped into that and he couldn't get out of it. And then they finally went to Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton said, you know what? I have an opening in my schedule. I can play this role now. And that's how he got the role with 1987's The Living Daylights. There you go. Yeah. Fun fact for those of you watching at home. I've never seen the TV show Remington Steele starring Pierce Brosnan. I've heard it's quite good, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, that sounds like something that I should definitely go on my watch list.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to check it out. I mean, I've been a Brosnan fan for 27 years, so I'm more than happy to check out some of his earlier works. I mean, granted, one of the first times I was introduced to Pierce Brosnan was in the film Mrs. Doubtfire. Remember that?
Oh yeah. That's another. It's an interesting contrast because, especially as he goes from Bond to, being in Mrs. Doubtfire, being in Mamma Mia. I remember.
That's right.
Like you have all of these. He definitely has range. Yeah.
I would definitely say so. I mean, he goes from playing the guy trying to get Robin Williams' wife in the 1992, I want to say 1992, 1993. Let me know the right year. But Mrs. Doubtfire, and then 2 years later goes right into James Bond. I'm thinking, wow, what a difference! Goes from being in a family, rom-com or dramedy to an action adventure film. That is, hey, Pierce Brosnan, well done, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. By the way.
Yeah, it was definitely good for his career. I can tell you that much.
For sure. And one of the other things is in this film, The Living Daylights, Timothy Dalton specifically said that if I'm going to take on this role, I have to do my own stunts because I want the person watching this at home to believe that it's me. So if you see me on the top of a car, it's me. If you see me, hovering, or flying through a helicopter or whatever it is, whatever crazy stuff that we're doing, it's me. That's how committed to the role Timothy Dalton was. Because normally they would say, oh, let the stunt guys do it. Let the stunt guys do it. We need to keep you safe. And Timothy Dalton says, no. I'm James Bond. I'm doing my own stunts.
Mhm.
So that's commitment right there. And this is a fun way to introduce a character. A woman on a boat
Mhm.
saying, I need a deal, man. Who are you? Bond. James Bond. This is James Bond. A report in an hour. Better make that 2.
Yep.
Boom. Cue the
Oh,
opening credits,
that's
bro.
that's like, and I mentioned this earlier where once you got into the Brosnan era of films, like the way that M would talk to Bond, like Bond was still behaving as Bond does,
Mhm.
but because they had um because the first that was the first incarnation of like M being a woman, like they kind of had that as a different dynamic where like what would happen is that like M would just chew Bond out for being who he is, and like, like talking about how he's a womanizer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is far more like plays it straight,
Mhm.
and
Good.
that was
I
kind
agree.
of I'm thinking about, like, it was Judi Dench who played M in
Yes.
those
Yes. In
films.
the Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig era, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, for the most of it. Anyway, how do we feel about these opening credit sequences here? How do you feel about the theme song, "The Living Daylights," performed by Aha?
I'm trying to think about, like, all of the most iconic ones. This one doesn't quite match some of the later ones, but I'm wondering if that's due to, like, just how much better, like, visual effects and stuff have gotten, like, ever since. Um you know what this actually is reminding me though of, for obvious reasons, it's the Austin Powers movies, because they're just spoofing on this the whole
They
time.
are. The Austin Powers
Yeah,
trilogy is a giant spoof on the James Bond series. Yes, it is.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, John Barry. I mean, listen, I'll be honest. I like the opening credits. I like this theme song by Aha. I like it. And listen, every Bond theme song for every Bond film is of its time. So you're
Very
going to
much so.
hear 80s type music in an 80s film. And also, you had a lot of synthesizers being used
Hmm.
in the 80s. So, but I think this opening credits sequence in the theme song, I think it goes pretty well. I mean, granted, the film, you're right. He takes it pretty seriously. Timothy Dalton. There's really not much humor. It's very straightforward. It's a bit grittier. But the theme song for this, I feel the theme song for this film, The Living Daylights, works
Hmm.
a heck of a
Hmm.
lot better than the theme song in License to Kill. I mean, even though the theme song to License to Kill is starting to grow on me over the last few days, if not weeks, I will say The Living Daylights to me fits the Bond era or the Bond overall scope a little bit more so than License to Kill, which is sung by Gladys Knight.
So this film gets like a little bit of an extra bump for me for having a streetcar in it. Yeah, that's definitely
I
a
mean,
boost in its favor.
there you go. I mean, if you're looking at the cars that are featured in this film, then yeah, that probably work.
No.
Okay. Once again, we are here celebrating the 35th anniversary of The Living Daylights starring Timothy Dalton, the first film starring him as James Bond. If you are just joining us, make sure you're liking, share your favorite memories or your questions or behind the scenes stories if you have any about this movie, The Living Daylights, or anything and everything James Bond. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat whether you're watching this live or on the replay. And make sure you share this with all 300 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching the 35th anniversary celebration of The Living Daylights. I guarantee it. Just to give you a heads up, we are at the 11-minute, 25-second mark in this film, The Living Daylights, starring Timothy Dalton. They are at the scene where he is in the I believe it's the opera house or the music house, and he's scoping out his next target for his next mission. Timothy Dalton wearing the trademark tuxedo that every James Bond has to wear in their respective films. And now they are going across the street because they need to talk strategy about how to accomplish this somewhat undercover mission.
So that violin scene actually reminded me, out of all things, Wrongfully Accused, which
No,
was a
yes,
Leslie Nielsen spoof movie.
yes,
But like
I watched it. Yeah,
I just immediately was like, oh, that's where they got this scene from.
Yep, it's where I'm pretty sure they were heavily influenced by that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how little things and little idiosyncrasies come from these movies that inspire the spoof movies, whether it's The Wrongfully Accused or the
Mhm.
Austin Powers franchise.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, look at this sniper rifle. My goodness.
Yeah, that's a serious piece of equipment right there.
It is, isn't it? To accomplish
Mm.
this mission. And then he's like, turn off the lights. And he changes his tux,
Mhm.
gets into gear, putting on the special gloves.
Mhm.
Yeah, takes his, he's James Bond. And this is a different version of this character. And to a lot of people, Timothy Dalton was ahead of his time because he was trying to take it back to the roots, make it more grittier, and make it more closer to the Ian Fleming novels. Because Timothy Dalton did a lot of research before he took on this role. He wanted to honor Ian Fleming's writings of this character, and this is how the character would behave. He's not as womanizing or as humorous as he is in certain other iterations of the James Bond films.
Mm.
Just FYI.
Yeah. You got to think a lot about the sound engineering for these films. Think about how many um gunshot sounds the audio mixer has to come up with. Like,
Mhm,
and I'm thinking of just how important that is for a movie like this, because you're going to be hearing it a lot. So,
mm,
they're talking about like making the sounds of reloading, and they kind of want to make it sound appealing. Now
mhm,
like, you learn that like these are not the way that guns actually sound, but they sound a way, like if you're doing audio or foley or stuff like that, they sound like what you would think a gun sounds like.
mhm. Sound design. Sound design
Yeah,
is always important in a film, whether you're trying to make it sound as real as possible, or if you're just a sound designer who says, "Hey, we need a sound effect for this sequence. How do we make this work?" And then
yeah.
sometimes they'll find inspiration elsewhere. You never know.
Hmm.
Which is true. And by the way, the actress in this movie, Miriam Dabo, who plays the role of Cara Malove, or Malove, excuse me, Malove. If I'm mispronouncing that, let us know in the chat. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I've
Hmm.
actually had the pleasure of meeting her at a
Oh.
convention many years ago, or a few years ago actually, before the lockdown happened. And I said, "Hey, I like The Living Daylights. What was it like working with Timothy Dalton? And what was like the funniest thing that may have happened on set? Bloopers or something that was a bit different and stuff." And she says, "Oh, he's so respectful, he's so kind and generous with his time and everything." So Miriam Dabo had a really good experience working on this film with Timothy Dalton. Ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a heads up, another panelist has entered the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. You think one Ryan is good? Two Ryans are better than one. Please welcome Ryan Payne to the studio. Ryan, how are you tonight, man?
Mhm.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. We can
Mhm.
hear you. I can see you. You look great.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, just I'm still like that was a good one. The two rights are better than
Yeah, because
most.
listen, you and I have crossed paths in the fan leagues of movie trivia here and there, but we've never actually
It's,
like teamed up and like done something together. We've seen each other on different shows, but this is the first that we're crossing the Ryan streams, even though Egon would say to us it could be bad. But in this case, it's a good thing. So great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us on the 35th anniversary celebration slash watch along of the Living Daylights. Just to give you a heads up here, Ryan, we are in the I want to say the 16-minute mark of the Living Daylights.
okay.
So if you have a copy of it, cue it up to your 16-minute mark and chime in. Watch the movie along with us as we're watching the film, and make sure you like and share this video with all 400 of your closest friends. They're going
Yeah,
to like
no
the way they
problem.
look
I
after
mean,
watching this video. I guarantee it. Does that make sense to you, Ryan?
yes, it does. I am way familiar with that commercial.
Yeah.
That's how I used
We
to.
always try
That's
to
how I used to
we
practice
boost we
trying to
try to
make my
boost
deep
the
voices
numbers
again.
up here every chance we get. But thank you so much for being here with us, Ryan. Just to give the person who is watching or listening to this in the comfort of their own home, we were going through this a bit earlier, but since you had some situations come up and you had to get things settled, now that you're here, what was your first foray into the James Bond universe? That's question number one. And then question number two is, what were your thoughts about going in to see The Living Daylights?
Well, at least getting into Bond, obviously
Yeah.
as a kid in the 90s, I mean,
Mhm.
there would be no way I would not have gotten into Bond if it wasn't for the Nintendo 64 game GoldenEye.
Yep.
It was
I was waiting for
inescapable.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
as funny thing was, I actually saw the movie before the game. I just remember my dad. He rented the film, and he enjoyed Bond a little bit when he was like during his time in school, and he decided, and I think my mom was a fan of Pierce Brosnan, or she was familiar with him. So when they rented that movie, and it was just like a family movie night, so we decided to watch GoldenEye, and I was immediately taken in. Just from the opening shot, Pierce Brosnan jumping off the dam, then going into just the insanity of the gadgets, of the chases, the action. For the longest time, anything before Brosnan, I had no interest in, honestly. I had no interest in until I got to high school after. Well, it wasn't until my time. It wasn't until after Die Another Day, and then I got into middle school, and then high school came in later, and all of a sudden, my grandpa, he had at least a bit of a. My dad had at least some VHSs of some old Sean Connery Bond. Watched those, loved them, and then finally, by the time I got to college, I finally got the opportunity to watch Living Daylights. Honestly, it was that long, but still, I got into it. At first, I actually wasn't sure what to think of it. It felt to me like this movie felt like it was meant for Brosnan. Honestly, like this was going to be the start for Brosnan as Bond. Then all of a sudden I find out through research and behind the scenes, yeah, this was originally meant to be Pierce Brosnan's first role as Bond, but Timothy Dalton came in.
Yeah, there you go. And we were talking about this earlier. I brought this up to Dylan, and for those of you who may be watching or listening to this in the comfort of your own home, they wanted him to be in this movie, but due to his contract with Remington Steele, a television series that Pierce Brosnan was starring in at the time, he couldn't get out of it because they renewed it for another season before they were going to announce that he was going to play James Bond. And then Cubby Broccoli went on record by saying, James Bond is not Remington Steele, and Remington Steele is not James Bond. So then they went back to Timothy Dalton because they had been trying to get him for many, 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 many years. And finally, an opening in his schedule came about, and Timothy said, you know what? My schedule is opened. I have a spot. I'm going to play this role. I'm going to go ahead and play James Bond. But if I'm going to play James Bond, I'm going to be doing my own stunts. So that's how committed to this role that Timothy Dalton was in the 1980s.
Yeah, that was actually some of the most amazing things I did learn when researching this, that they really wanted Timothy Dalton very early on, but there was always either he wasn't just interested or there was always scheduling conflicts. Like it wasn't like the right time for him. And then it did feel like, it was the right time when it came with Living Daylights. And then watching this film, I'll admit, I'm a very okay. I caught up to where you guys are. Okay, that little scene kind of did get me. That scene where he is shooting his I'm like the Russian general was trying to defect through that tube.
The pod through the tube. Yeah,
through that long distance pod. That long distance tube. That
it was through a pipeline. Yeah.
Yes, the pipeline. I was actually amazed at that because then I'm going, wait a minute. If they did something like that for Timothy Dalton, then why the hell were people not buying the oil pipeline plot line from The World Is Tomorrow? Tomorrow.
The world is not enough. Yeah,
the world is never enough. So the world is not enough. So I'm going to myself, what is it about the Bond? Because watching the old Bond films and then comparing them to Brosnan, I'm sorry, what is it the audience had with Brosnan's, how insane Brosnan's films were compared to the ones of Connery and Moore, and then of course Dalton. Even though this film is still very contained in itself, I still like the fact that in order to smuggle someone across a border, they had to shoot him through a pipeline. I'm going, that's not too far fetched for me.
No. And then he said it himself in the film, in the sequence that just occurred a few moments ago. He says, "Our scientists have spent months perfecting this. How many times have you done this before? You're the first." So, well. It's good stuff, isn't it? Well, Ryan, I want to say thank you for taking on this great power and great responsibility of being our third panelist for tonight, because people are already chiming in the chat and they're agreeing with what we said earlier. Diane says, "Hey, Ryan, I'm here. I'm queuing up my film." So about 17 minutes in, right? Yes. She says, "Woohoo! 2 Ryans in the house," Diane says here in the chat. And then Diane also goes on to say, GoldenEye was my first James Bond movie as well. I have never seen The Living Daylights, so I am excited to watch this movie with you all tonight. Well, thank you, Diane, for being with us and watching this movie for you
Wow.
being the first time. This is probably how many times have I seen this? Maybe, I don't know, 4 times now that I've seen this. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to go back and revisit these things, especially when it comes to their anniversaries, which in this case, 35 years since this film came out on this very day in 1987.
Oh, classic Llewellyn Davis.
Oh, I'm sorry. Classic what now, Dylan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Llewellyn Davis. As Q.
What does that mean? Oh, it's Q. Oh, Desmond Llewellyn.
Oh, yes.
Desmond Llewellyn as Q. Yes.
Sorry, wow. All right.
Yeah, you butchered his name.
Oh, man.
You meant, Dalen.
Well, it's funny because Ryan and I competed in a trivia match, and Ryan, I think you lost because you couldn't name the actor who played Q. Or you had trouble pronouncing the character's name or the actor's name.
Yeah.
Yes. Even though funny thing is, afterwards they said I was so close on the spelling, it was just the pronunciation that was off.
Yeah. I know. Isn't that funny?
So it's what 2 for 2 in this case.
Yeah, 2 for 2.
He butchered his name. It's something we're working on for the Americans. It's called a ghetto blaster. That's what Q just said in that line. With that boombox that was booming, and then a missile comes out of it. That's a way to get around.
Yeah, that's one thing. One thing in my when I went to rewatch all the old Bond films was, of course, seeing The Living Daylights for the first time, saying, oh, they brought back the same actor who played Q, the same actor who played M, but a new Money Punny, huh? That was
Bliss.
Interesting. Yes, Carolyn Bliss playing the new Money Punny.
And she's quite pretty in these 2 films, I might add.
Oh, that's true. Which was kind of a surprise to me because I definitely loved Lois Maxwell. I loved her. I loved the energy and the chemistry she had with the 3 Bond actors that she worked with Connery, Moore,
George Lazenby.
Yes.
Yep, Roger Moore.
And I don't know. I kind of like that. I would have loved to have seen how her chemistry would have been with Dalton, honestly. But I get it. They
wanted someone who was closer to his age and made her younger in these versions.
Yeah, so it made a lot of sense.
So I love Andreas. Probably pronouncing this wrong. Wisniewski as Necros.
Yes.
I love him.
Yeah, he's been in some other stuff
is just
too.
so great. I think he's very much a standout in this film. Definitely, and of course the rake is actually
they're using a rake as a radar. I know, right?
A radar, yeah.
By the way, Diane chimes in. She says. Diane says, I'm not surprised that you've seen this movie probably multiple times. That is probably the case with most films. Yes, Diane, I do my research before we watch these films for anniversaries.
What we're going to do for myself.
It's okay.
Normally for a film, it's just like if it has my attention, I will watch it. And if I find out it's the anniversary, oh, great.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's okay. I watched this movie a couple days ago before we did it for this anniversary celebration. So I watched both. I watched this and License to Kill this week with Timothy Dalton. So that was fun.
Yeah, I will say Dalton really didn't get he didn't get the opportunity to have his real shot as Bond. Yeah. Especially watching these films. I'm going because The Living Daylights and License to Kill, I actually I did a letterbox at the time and one was ranking them. I think both of those 2 are in my top 10 for Bond films, or at least I have a high opinion of both.
Whoa, top 10! Oh man, that's intriguing. I like that.
It's been a while since I've looked at I have not been on Letterboxd, I think, for over a couple months, honestly. So I would have to double check to be sure.
Same here. I haven't checked my account in several months.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, watching these 2 and the fact that they're not world-ending plots for both of them. They're just very they're spy films. So
but they're
I appreciate
personal.
How they were spy. Yes, personal spy films. I mean, at least License to Kill is. I mean, I understand.
License to Kill is very personal. It's like Jaws 19. This time, it's really, really personal.
Yeah. But at least with Living Daylights, though, I like how it just plays off as just a simple spy story, and then mostly when it does get into somewhere near the halfway point, it does get a little personal for Bond. But I do like
True.
at first I do like he's treating his business as usual. It reminded me of Dr. No with Connery. He thinks he's taking on a regular mission, but then finds out another 00 agent was killed. So it's a bit of business and personal for him in that one. I think that was a trademark with Bond, or at least with Connery in his Bond films. It started off as business, and then it would get personal, or he would have somebody who would take it personally. It went in with each other like it was literally like oil and water. Like you really could not. Those two could not get away from each other.
No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. But just to give everyone a bit of a idea, I know we're going to talk more about this as we get towards the end of the show. But I'm just curious, Ryan, how have you been? You doing well? You keeping busy with your several podcasts that you do every week, or have you been playing in the fan leagues of Full Metal, or what?
I've not taken I mean, I'll get a break from the fan league if I'm not involved in any tournaments or I'm not on a winning streak, but I'm still there. As far as podcast goes, I've kind of reduced myself down to go back to one podcast, which is my wrestling podcast I co-host with my buddies James and Brenton. We've just gotten back on track of putting together a releasing schedule. So mostly hopefully by the half end of this year, we're going to start releasing episodes on a consistent basis.
Oh, that's cool. Well, congrats. Happy to hear that. Yeah, the sinister one known as James Shimo, always a cool dude.
Yeah, he's fantastic, honestly.
Well, that's good stuff. Yeah, because it's been a hot minute since you and I have had a chance to actually talk. Because normally we're discussing, oh, I should have answered my 5-pointer this way. Oh, I should have gone for the 2 or whatever. I don't know. We're always talking about movie trivia stuff, but we never actually just get to sit down and just shoot the breeze about movies in general. Yeah, which we're giving you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes type stories here between Ryan Payne and myself. 2 Ryans are always better than 1 anyway. So I mean, it's just one of those things. But yeah, oh my goodness, this guy is getting beat in the kitchen here by Necros. My gosh.
I get major Gordon Ramsay gone wrong vibes for the scene. It's
yeah, or what happens when you piss off Guy Fieri,
Yeah. What were they? I think someone told me they took 3 days to shoot all these sequences in the kitchen and stuff because they had to do the stunts and they had to choreograph it and stuff. It takes time. It really takes time to put these things to work. It's a nice house too. It's a giant mansion. It's a giant mansion too. I mean, it's an older school style, maybe, Ryan, of the Luther Mansion from Smallville. I don't know.
I love that, the explosive milk bottles. Those are great.
Yeah, milk can be explosive. I didn't know that.
Yeah. See, that's what all the commercials were about way back when. It's you just got milk. Well, what you do, eventually you'll get to a point where you could just be a walking bomb.
Milk cartons.
Boom.
Milk carton here and a milk carton over there. Oh, let's put one on the left side. No, we got to put one in the center. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Man, the guy who plays Necros is good. He is good in this. He's more of a threat. To me, he should have been the real bad guy in this movie because he can physically go up against Bond and give him a run for his money. He's more threatening. He's more threatening than the defecting KGB agent. What's his name?
Koskov.
Koskov. Yeah, Koskov is not a great villain. He's very non-threatening.
Well, I think it was all about trying to, because they wanted to be a spy film again. This is all about just the mental, warfare with playing spy games with James Bond instead of him being all about the physical, the strength. Kind of a little bit like the Daniel Craig films. I mean, the first 2 villains were all about the mental, warfare, and then until Skyfall came, you got the physical threat with Javier Bardem's character,
Silva.
Yeah, Silva. Yes. But even then, I'll say that's the one thing I like with with Craig's films. It was all about the mental warfare, the mental mind games to play in his movies. Sure.
Yeah, The Sheep was really good. Dominic Green had some, not a lot, but he had a few good mental games he was messing around with Bond with. So I like that.
Well, yeah, Quantum of Solace really is one of the weaker ones because you can't tell. I mean, at least with the villain, we understand they were trying to set up this whole organization. That Bond, the MI6, the enemy organization, but it was just weird. But they were trying to control the water supply in Bolivia, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that. I did like that trope there because especially with the little CIA mini storyline with David Harbour and Felix Leiter, it definitely looked like governments don't care about these other organizations causing coups. We just want our piece of the pie, and then it's like, we're not after your oil. We just want your water. That's the real real gold. That's the real gold for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we see Timothy meeting with M here, and Timothy's wearing not so much a tuxedo, but a suit. He looks,
Mm-hmm.
Really.
I know we're not supposed to really. I know it doesn't really matter what the clothes are, but the way Timothy Dalton looks, he looks razor sharp in those suits.
Mm-hmm.
Looks pretty darn good, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's a nice looking suit, and then that thing that he's holding in his hand, that means death to spies.
Really?
Yeah, that's what that thing he's holding. That thing that was found on 004's body in the opening credit sequence. Yeah.
Oh,
death
that's right.
Spies. Yeah. Yep. So basically means, hey, we don't like spies. We're going to kill you all. Hence the reason two of the three were killed off in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
Especially in the training exercise, they wanted to get rid of every spy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Once again, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Living Daylights, and we are at the what is that? 33 or 32? 33.
33-minute mark.
Yeah,
33-minute, 30-second mark here in the movie. If you're just joining us, make sure you queue up your copy on the streaming service or your physical media and queue up your copy. Watch the movie along with us. Share your favorite memories. Share your stories. Share things you may have liked or didn't like about this movie or anything and everything James Bond universe. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you share this video with all 500 of your closest friends and fellow secret agents. They're going to like the way they look after watching this video celebrating the 35th anniversary of the Living Daylights. I guarantee it. And once again, thank you to Dylan and Ryan Payne for joining us on the panel for tonight's festivities. This has been fun so far. We're only 35 minutes in. And now we're at the part where we're in Q Branch, and he's introduced him to a few special nifty little gadgets.
I always find it interesting because, when I looked at screenwriting courses, because I attend local screenwriting meetups, we do talk about Bond films quite a lot because, especially these scenes here are nice little bits of setup and payoff. In sort of narrative structure, you don't want to just kind of have a character, you don't want to have Bond just pull out a gadget. So you have these scenes in that kind of provide the little context where Q shows him how it works and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that you take for granted until you start seeing movies that don't have them in it, where it's like, oh, well, here's the suddenly, he has a gadget that can solve it, but that's how these structures work.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one. That's one thing I did miss a little bit. I mean, I understand the Craig films was a complete reboot, I definitely liked when they did bring in Q for Skyfall, because at that point it is more of, it's reflecting the world. It's no longer just about brute force going in there. You need to be more not suave, but you need to be more tact, which is why the gadgets came in and made a lot of sense. Okay, I do love this little. I was gonna the whole thing with Timothy Dalton. He was about to test the whistle. That's one thing I did like with the Timothy Dalton when he was his little back and forth with Desmond in this film. You can really tell that Timothy really cued it. He cued in on Bond not liking Bond and Q's antagonizing relationship. So I loved it whenever. So I liked it even more when I was rewatching this and doing a back-to-back with Pierce, because you're seeing, because then when it gets to the world is not enough and Q retires, it made so much sense to me to where, he's retiring. He's done it. He's through a Bond shtick.
So one of the things back in that Q scene with that couch, because one of the things I was thinking about,
the guy sits on it, then he gets flipped into the couch, and Q's like, "Oh, I need to take a breath," and then all of a sudden, and then Bond says, "Hey, I'm taking the car up for spin, Q. Just be careful with it, 007. It just got a new coat of paint."
Yeah, but one of the things I actually remember is that couch actually made an appearance in the Game Boy game.
Did it?
James Bond Game Boy game. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that was interesting because at the same time that GoldenEye was released, a lesser known Game Boy game that was just James Bond 007 got released. It was
Wow.
It was kind of more of this hodgepodge of Bond films, like, because I know Oddjob was in it. I can't remember who else was in it, like, but it actually played a lot like Zelda with a gun, where it was, you know, like top down, and Bond would kind of navigate through this sort of non-linear space and would kind of use items in that way. It had kind of this melee combat that was a little bit tricky to get a hold of, but like it, I have to admit, it was kind of impressive for a Game Boy game in terms of like how it could really squeeze in the Bond experience.
I was gonna say, in the words of Biff Tannen, you know your history. Very good. I mean, clearly I didn't know that because they combined a lot of different Bond films in this game that came out many, many decades later. Is anyone familiar with 007 Legends that came out for the Xbox and the PS4 or 5, whatever it was? Because that game had like 6 different Bond movies from all the eras like roped into one, and the one that they used from Timothy Dalton wasn't even Living Daylights; it was License to Kill.
I do remember that. I remember seeing a demo of that played at a video game store, and then also at a Best Buy. So this was before when I think during the time there was a few Best Buys around my era that used to play demos of certain video games before before they discontinued that.
Yeah. I had a bit of fun playing 007 Legends. I don't think I got to the License to Kill version or the level of that though, but I wish I did because I rewatched both these films for preparation for this one, the 35th anniversary of the Living Daylights. I gotta say though, I like License to Kill more than this.
Oh, I do. I honestly, these both go hand in hand with each other. Because honestly, one thing I do give another great thing I give Dalton's Bonds is that they do a good job with the thread. Like I love how they let it sit a little bit. You know, like they'll introduce a good element. Like right here, we just saw with the new girl. Oh my God, the
Cara Malove.
With Cara, and then you see that moment where normally in maybe like a Roger Moore or maybe even a Brosnan Bond, that he would have tried to approach her in the trolley. Instead, you know, Dalton's treating it as if, no, I'm just going to observe her. And then when she's arrested, I like how he starts to spring into action. Especially of course later on when he frees her from interrogation. I do like that he's able to establish trust with her while, you know, and then also providing her with 2 things. One, her cello, and then also her relationship with
Koskov.
With Koskov.
Okay, fair enough. I'm digging these observations from our panelists tonight. I really am. This is good stuff. And make sure to feel free to share even more as we go along because there are some great behind the scenes type stories or great observations that maybe you're making that I didn't notice beforehand, and I respect that. You know, we learn from each other on these shows, and that's one of the best things about collaborating with other podcasters.
This little moment here with Bond, like inspecting finding the gun inside the cello. I like those 2 guys outside of the stall. They're just like wondering what the hell is he bringing that. Well, no. The guys in the stall saw Bond bring that cello case in.
Oh yeah, it's like what's he doing with this?
Reminds me 100% when I played sports and when I was playing football. Of course, at the time with my gear, our coach did this one thing where we had to, you know, get used to our gear, so he let us take it home with us. And then one day I was visiting my grandma, so I had to take a bus, and then I had to go to. And then of course, before I got off to a stop, I went to a 7-Eleven just to get something to drink, but then I had to use the bathroom. So I took my gear in with me, and then when I went out, all of a sudden, I just remember the clerk looking at me going, were you cleaning your gear in there? No. Normally we don't like when someone takes items inside our bathrooms. I go, I understand that, but there's nothing I could have done with my gear. I don't want it stolen. But it was just one of those things that reminded me where sometimes people's conservative nature is for a good thing or it's for like just a weird case. So that seemed probably like a good personal experience of mine.
I was gonna say that's a story I never thought I'd ever hear on these types of shows. But hey, listen, when you get 2 Ryans, you're bound to get some craziness, or something that's outside the box. I don't know. Another thing that someone brought up in another interview, or not an interview, rather a podcast. Someone said that Timothy Dalton feels more comfortable when he's wearing civilian type clothing. He looked kind of uncomfortable wearing the tuxedos. Like he didn't want to wear them. He just wanted to wear like, different kinds of clothing that weren't tuxedos, if you know what I mean.
I mean, you can kind of see it in this scene here where you can see his demeanor. He feels a little more relaxed.
Yeah,
that's
like
people were observing that too.
Yeah, the posture, like where he's clearly more comfortable.
Yeah, he's more himself. He's himself. He's just playing the character. He's doing his thing. And Kara's like, "Are we gonna see Koskov? Are we gonna see my boyfriend?" Just those big googly eyes. And the Aston Martin comes back in this movie because I think in the last Roger Moore film, maybe the one before, I don't know. I think they kind of done away with the Aston Martin, but they bring it back here in this case for the 1987 film, which makes sense because new Bond, new era, bring some of the familiarity back, and the car looks good in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a nice looking car. Which we'll find out more about this car as we go throughout the course of the film.
Yeah.
There goes the trolley.
Yep. This is why we need public transportation back in the U.S.
Do you want more trolleys, Dylan? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So, like, I'm a huge advocate of like public transit, and especially like thinking about downtown Baltimore and just like how it used to have so much of that, and like the absolute detriment that ripping out those tracks had. So
yeah, there's a lot of history there, if you will.
Oh, definitely, and I could go on about that. That is
maybe. Well, hey, listen, if you want to do a history of Maryland podcast, there's something for you to do, Dylan.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. See, here's the thing: like, I'm not doing any podcasts right now, but I would love to do another podcast. I was doing one for like my like talking about dating and relationships while being on the autism spectrum, but I kind of want to return to that when I have a partner. And other than that, I also design tabletop RPGs, and I would love to do that again. But I have no co-host. I definitely need a co-host. Other than that, like, that was kind of like History of Maryland wouldn't be a bad idea because I've gone up to the Baltimore County Archives, and it's a really fascinating experience. Speaking of which, I actually did make a spy themed RPG called Octane. It was influenced by Time Crisis, which of course borrows a lot from the James Bond aesthetic.
It's a good game too.
Oh yeah, I love the Time Crisis.
I mean, we all remember playing Time Crisis in our local arcades, right, Ryan?
It wasn't my highest priority, but I remember playing that game. I always wanted to do 2-player. I could not do it myself. I could, but the 2-player made it much easier.
So did you play 2, 3, 4, or 5? Because I'm gonna say that, like, you mentioned it as a kid, so probably 2, maybe 3.
I think some of the arcades, depending on the arcades I went to.
Because everyone is different.
Well, yeah, one arcade I went to had the original 3 Time Crisis, and before there used to be a Pizza Hut I used to have in my neighborhood that actually had arcade games in it. Time Crisis was one of them, along with the Simpsons arcade game. But Time Crisis was definitely a popular one.
Like, because I remember the original Time Crisis was. It's kind of an oddball, actually, because it was the only one that was single player, and it was far more bare bones than the later ones. Like, as the games evolved, they got more like, when you got to 2, you had some sections where you got a machine gun, and I do love how, like, Time Crisis 2's plot is about basically this guy who's going to launch a nuke into space, a nuclear satellite, and he's fronting it with like, I'm gonna make Starline Network, and I'm like, oh, he's Elon Musk. And
Jeez.
Like, then Time Crisis 3, actually this kind of feels a little bit like Time Crisis 3, although it took place in the Mediterranean as opposed to Siberian, so like, it's setting wise, it doesn't line up, but it has a bit of this. Although Time Crisis 3 also just is way more leans into its campiness.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course 4 was closer to like the PS3 era, and 5 is arcade only, and most people don't even know that they made a 5th one, because they even brought back some of the old characters from like Time Crisis 2. Like you follow Keith Martin and Robert Baxter from Time Crisis 2. So,
geez, clearly
I
someone
didn't
has
even
been
know
reading the
about Time
Time
Crisis.
Crisis history book. I mean, clear, and I'm here sitting here. We're watching The Living Daylights for its 35th anniversary, and we're seeing the car in action here, and there's some good stunts here being performed. We're not even commenting on that. But you know what?
Well,
Hey, we go in
Well,
20.
I wanted
we
to
go in
talk
20.
about I wanted to talk
Listen,
about that laser.
We go in 20 different directions on these shows, but I will say this. It's good to hear the James Bond theme being incorporated here. You get to see the car in action again. And then Timothy Dalton makes this really good comment where he says, we have a few optional extras installed. And that's when he says we got to use these buttons to make things, happen. And I'm thinking, okay, we're getting into some serious car stuff here. I mean, look at this. This car has its own batch of skis if the tires go out. Look at this.
Yeah.
I love how
earlier. Oh, go ahead, Dylan. Sorry.
I love how specific, like, Q knows that he's going to end up in this exact situation.
Yeah, and the car is already equipped with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what did he use? He used a laser. He uses the missiles to get away from the truck. I mean, look at this. And then he's got skis.
That's one thing you did mention, like, with but what you said Dalton referred to being the civilian clothes. The way he composed himself really just shows in that scene, especially when he used that laser to take off the bottom part to separate the car
from the
tires. And he says salt corrosion. He just says
there it goes.
No,
oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he says
salt corrosion and picking up the signals of the police van, and then the girl looks at him and says, "What's that all?" And then he says, "Must be an astronomical anomaly." Salt corrosion. We have a few optional extras installed.
Yeah,
and then when the rocket comes out, he says, "Brace yourself."
This part actually was like one of my favorite parts, just because of like the setup.
What, you mean the part where they're about to use the cello to ski down this hill?
Ski down the hill.
Oh yeah, but other than that part, I mean.
Yeah.
By the way, they got all turned around during this sequence. This took like 5 or 6 takes to make this like entire chase scene go right, because they had stunt guys behind them or safety engineers behind them to make sure they weren't, seriously hurt. But when they kept turning it to make sure it goes a certain way, it wasn't going the exact way that it should have. So, and Cara Malove, played by Mariam Dabo, has been on camera by saying, "I did not have fun going down that hill. That sequence was a lot. It was a lot." So there you go.
Yeah,
fun little behind the scenes for you.
I love the motion of how like all of them are kind of lined up.
Yeah, everybody's going down the hill at one point.
Yeah, at one point. Yeah.
Oh, look, the cello gets shot.
And that was one shame.
Far away from now.
There was one shame just seeing that car just be self-destruct.
I know. I liked that car though. Here, hold this up. It's our passport. We have nothing to declare.
And just look.
Look at that. They just flashed this.
Just look. There it goes.
Here's the passport. Here's our cello. We have nothing to declare except the cello.
Yeah. It's like, what's the point of there's no point in checking it out. I mean, like, yeah.
And now now the movie has taken us to the beautiful world of Tangier. Gee willikers. By the way, for those of you who may be wondering, what the heck are these 3 guys talking about? We're talking about The Living Daylights turning 35 this year, and we are at the 51-minute mark in this movie. So if you're just joining us, whether it's live or on the replay, queue up your copy on your streaming service or your physical media. Watch the movie along with us. Share your feelings, your thoughts, things you thought went well in this movie, things you didn't like about this movie, or something you may like or didn't like about the James Bond franchise. Leave any and all your thoughts in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. Make sure you like and share this video with all 600 of your closest friends and fellow secret agents, because they're going to like the way they look after watching the 35th anniversary celebration of The Living Daylights. I guarantee it. Once again, welcome to Dylan and Ryan Payne, our panelists tonight joining us, and thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here and your fun facts that you've been sharing with us, or some of the fun stories you're sharing about. Hey, who'd have thought we would talk about Time Crisis on a James Bond show? But listen, crazier things have happened, and guess what? What's even crazier is that Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings alumni himself, John Rhys Davies, plays General Pushkin in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. This is 2 years before The Last Crusade came out, Ryan.
You're gonna throw that information on me. I mean, you might want to keep that to yourself. No, I'm kidding. I got a list of. I have a list of Bond films. It would have gotten to me sooner or later.
Eventually, but isn't it ironic that Joe Don Baker plays Whitaker in this, and then in 1995 he comes back as the CIA operative?
CIA, yes. Doesn't he pop back up in Tomorrow Never Dies as well?
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, I think he's just in the 2. I don't think he was in The World Is Not Enough, because he definitely wasn't in Die Another Day.
It was Robbie Coltrane's character, Vladimir.
It was Valentin Dmitrievich.
Oh, Valentin.
Yeah.
Valentin.
You know him? I gave him a limp. Remember him? Dude, his appearance in GoldenEye, Robbie Coltrane's character in GoldenEye, was so iconic. When he's giving him the lecture, he's like, James Bond, charming, sophisticated secret agent. Are you still working for MI6, or have you decided to join the 21st century? I've heard the new M is a lady. It's just, he's so good in that movie. And the best part about it is, Ryan, remember when and the funny thing is, I didn't know that was Minnie Driver until years later playing his Elena. His mistress. I had no idea, because he turns around and he says, what do you need to do for an audience? Who's strangling the cat? Strangling the cat. That is Elena, my mistress, very talented girl. It's so good, honestly, man.
Yeah, I mean, of course, didn't know who Minnie Driver was when I saw her as a kid, but then after seeing, like maybe watching a couple of films and then seeing her in a few, like Good Will Hunting, I'm going, wait a minute, she looks so damn familiar.
It was Elena.
I just remember my dad saying, like, in the back while he was barbecuing, she was in GoldenEye. I'm like, what? I mean, I'm a kid in middle school. I would not have known. I would not have recognized it. I would not have gotten that immediately.
No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, if someone wants to Google this in the backstage area or let us know in the comments, wasn't the TV series Sliders airing at the same time that John Rhys Davies was in this movie, as well as The Last Crusade in the 1980s? Or was that more early 90s that Sliders came out? Can't remember exactly. Does anyone remember Sliders, the time-traveling show with Jerry O'Connell, John Rhys Davies, and a few others?
Yes, I do know that. Hold on.
Yeah. I just don't remember when it first aired.
Okay, it's saying 95 for some reason. Yeah, it aired in 1995.
Okay, well, much later then. Sorry, John Rhys Davies, I got my facts wrong. Or I got my information incorrectly. That's what I meant. It's not a fact. I was guessing. It's not a fact. That was an opinion. Anyway, look at this. The interesting lovebirds are on a horse carriage.
Aww.
In Tangier, and look at her smile. She's like, "Are we going to see him? We're going to see him." It's like, "Yeah, we will get to him soon." Oh, Timothy Dalton. I do wish that Timothy Dalton would have gotten more entries in his era of Bond, but then again, Ryan, we were talking about this earlier. He was ahead of his time.
He was.
That's why I feel certain people weren't ready for this era of James Bond yet, because he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. And it was kind of weird too. Like after License to Kill, it almost felt as if everything Bond was like it was just stalled until Brosnan came back on, which was really weird. I'm thinking
there were behind the scenes and rights issues. That's why it took 6 years for the next Bond film to come out between License to Kill and GoldenEye.
And that extends to, like, speaking of the GoldenEye game, like just seeing how the Bond license hops between different developers, like
it's a huge issue that comes
up.
Yeah.
And it's really troubling when we're talking about video game preservation, because the GoldenEye N64 game
came out in 96.
It came out in 96, but it isn't just, a licensed game. It's kind of a formative moment in kind of the development of console first-person shooters, and it's notoriously difficult to access. And I remember when Rare was putting out their enhanced port, they wanted to put it out for the Xbox 360, but they couldn't clear it with Nintendo, because by that time they were bought by Microsoft. And so it's just...
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. By the way, how do we feel that Timothy Dalton just delivered this line here when the guy at the hotel desk, usual room? Yeah, I had the vodka martini sent up, shaken, not stirred. Of course. How do we feel Timothy Dalton delivered that one, shaken, not stirred? I think he did it well.
Honestly, I think it was good. I mean, because clearly you can see with Carolyn in the back, he wasn't trying, because like what the receptionist said, oh, your usual suite. He thought, oh, is this going to be a special mission? He's like, no, he's trying to be very normal. Like, not tonight. So just yes, shh. He's trying to keep it low key, not trying to be smooth.
He's playing coy. I'm not being coy. Are you being coy? Yes, he's being coy. Or maybe not. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of bartenders say that, like, the fact that Bond asks for shaken, not stirred, he's probably going to get a weaker drink out of that.
But looking back on it, it makes a lot of sense because he's a spy. You don't want him seeing him get too drunk in the field. So I like that little tip that bartenders are revealing. No, if he shakes it, it's watered down. Good. That gives the appearance that to not many to his enemies and to many strangers that he's getting drunk. But in actuality, no, he's functioning.
I mean, some thoughts though about, like, because I think about how, like, everyone knows who Bond is, and he seems to be willing to hand out his identity rather regularly. Like, it's everyone knows who he is.
Yeah, which is why I keep thinking Bond had to be a code name on. That's why I like later on people start theorizing Bond has to be a code name and not his real name, because what man who came from the military, who was part of the British Navy, all of a sudden wants to use his real name out there? But then I'm thinking, because he's part of the British Navy, it would make more sense to when he's going into hotels or casinos or places of high luxury that he's using his actual name, so no one has to worry about it, like doing background checks.
I mean, I think it's more likely that it was about leaning into kind of the fantasy of it. Like, he can do all of these things and still, get out with, like, because if you wanted to talk about espionage, like, he's constantly, like, blowing gadgets up and destroying equipment and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's also like, you're telling me that you're gonna walk through a movie or you're gonna sit through a movie where Bond is not blowing stuff up. Speaking of which, in Octane, like, I even made a rule. It's like, here's the rule for blowing stuff up, because that was super critical.
Always thinking ahead is this young panelist of ours here tonight, making his debut in the Nerd Culture Studios, simply known as Dylan, and also two Ryans are better than one, so you get Ryan P, which is me, and then you get Ryan Payne in the room, and our initials are the same, which is just cray cray. It's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but hey, it works. Maybe it'll boost up our ratings. Who the heck knows?
Let's hope so. Hoping with two Ryans on here, people will be intrigued.
I mean, Diane's already intrigued, as you see in the chat here, as she spoke about earlier on in the show. So there you go. We must be doing something right.
Definitely.
But yeah, you see Bond here talking to Saunders. That we met earlier in the film.
I did like this little antagonizing relationship between Bond and Saunders. Well, Saunders, he's trying to be the by the book like government agent. Well, Bond, he's more of, I've been on the field. I have the spirit. Yeah, that's why I like how Bond he improvises and has to think ahead, because as you saw with getting the general out, like doing the way he would have done would not have worked.
Yeah, it's a good point. But yeah, see a little bit of the antagonistic or some of the dialogue of the relationships between the characters. It's good stuff. And I'm telling you, it seems like of all the 6 actors that have portrayed this character over the years, they all bring their different kind of elements or things to the role. But Timothy Dalton, to a certain degree, I feel Timothy Dalton was most passionate about playing this character because he was such a fan of the Ian Fleming original novels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. Okay, but I do want to add another extra thing with Saunders, though. I like the fact that he is the fact I missed the beginning with you guys, so because the fact he's more of like a by the book kind of guy, I do like that he's someone who Bond can't be wishy-washy with. He can't be coy with. He has to be straightforward. So when he's telling him that Koskov's defection was phony, he has to give him every detail, not leave him out there in the dark. Because clearly Saunders could pretty much just report him to London and just get him extracted. But then it also upsets me later on when Saunders does start to come around with Bonnie. He's like, I don't like your methods, but you are loyal. And then they kill him. I'm like, mother, God damn it.
Yeah. Like, how dare you, bro? How dare you? Yeah.
See, I like that line he just said. I got nothing to lose but my pension. Meaning he is a company man. So I like the fact where he's going, either way, well, either way, I'm going to be like, like if you're wrong, then, I lose my pension. But if you're right, it means that we did a good job.
It's fair. It's a fair point. And one of the other elements that they bring to every James Bond movie are the locations. Some really good locations in each and every film, including this one. So it's. Yeah. I mean, look, you got the lights and the Ferris wheel and the carnival and all the bright lights and stuff. And so it really adds to the bit of the atmosphere, the ambiance of what they're trying to set up here within this iteration of James Bond.
Yeah. See, this one,
you got Necros there with the balloons.
Yeah.
Like, I'm spying on you, but I'm not going to tell you.
I like how Necros in this film is a better spy than James Bond.
I know, seriously, he was so much better. You're right, I agree 100%. That's a funny thing to bring up.
That's why it's funny. You see Bond, we were talking earlier, Dylan, like how Bond's so out in the open now. He's really not looking like a great spy. But then, the moment you do see, like when Saunders is killed, Bond does start to turn things up a notch, where he's going,
it's
okay.
Like, oh, how dare you? This is not cool, It's a fair point. It's a nice looking Ferris wheel too.
Yeah. And then Bond just realized I fucked up.
It's like, who needs the elephant? You got me. No, you cannot do it, James. It's just last 2 days I've only been thinking about you. Just don't think about it. Just let it happen, as he says in this scene.
Yeah.
Really good looking Bond girl in this movie. She's really good looking. I'm telling you, the Dabo bloodline is just gorgeous because you got Miriam Dabo in this, and then you get her cousin Olivia Dabo in the Wonder Years television series as Karen Arnold, Kevin's sister. And I'm thinking, man, these Dabos, they look darn good. And to be quite honest with you, I've met both of them. I've met Miriam Dabo from The Living Daylights. She and I talked about the film, had a good conversation about that. That was fun. Then I talked to Olivia Dabo about her work on the Wonder Years and how she also voiced a character in the Batman Beyond TV animated series.
Yes, I remember she did voice a character. I forget the character's name. But
it was the one. I forget the name of the. But it was the gang of cards, like the trump cards. She was like the Queen of Hearts or something like that.
The Royal Flush Gang. Yes, the Royal Flush Gang.
I think it was. I think it was the Royal Flush Gang. But yeah, she voiced a character in that. She also played Nicole Wallace on Law and Order: Criminal Intent, being the antagonist to Robert Gorin's character, played by the incredible Vincent D'Onofrio, also known as the Kingpin within the Marvel Universe. And I heard that he's going to be coming back because they just greenlit Daredevil Born Again for not just one, but 18 episodes of that series. And Charlie Cox is going to reprise his role.
Yeah, now it comes down to exactly how long those episodes are going to be. Because 18 episodes, if they're all going to be like 50 to 55 minutes, that's going to be a long-ass series.
but you're still going to watch it, right? Because it's Daredevil.
Oh, of course I'm still going to watch it. And because of the good work the writers did. I just hope they brought the same writing team from the Netflix show to this show.
It's a good point. I hope that's the case as well. But when I heard that announcement at SDCC, which just a quick sidebar here, because I know we're supposed to be talking about Living Daylight's 30th anniversary, but which we are going to continue with that as we go on. But when they announced that Born Again was coming out with Daredevil, I'm like, oh, they're bringing back Daredevil. Okay, now you got me intrigued because Charlie Cox in the Daredevil series was my favorite of the Marvel Netflix era at that point. So he's coming back. He's going to get 18 freaking episodes, which is like 3 times more than what the average Marvel show is getting these days. So bless your heart, Charlie Cox. You're coming back as the iconic Daredevil. By the way, this door just slammed into Saunders and killed him.
God, this little part pisses me off too. Oh,
God. That door just like chopped him in half. Oh, look at this. He gets a balloon, but what's inside the balloon? Oh, the balloon says death to spy.
A part of me kept thinking, did Necro screw up? Was he supposed to kill Bond or Saunders?
No, he was watching from afar, so he knew who he was going after. He was going after Saunders because he didn't want him helping Bond. I believe that was his intention.
I get that.
He's like, hey, I'm about to find Necros. Wait, it's not Necros. It's somebody else. I better put this away. Hold on.
Yeah, but the first part kind of screwed me. The first part did kind of like when I watched it earlier on the first time, I'm going, that guy must have screwed up really badly because I thought he was supposed to get Bond out the way. Saunders would not have mattered if he had killed Bond.
I got the message.
Mm-hmm.
Very subtle.
Ooh, I love that. That is a good inflection there.
Yeah, he says, "Yeah, I got the message. Death to spies. Yeah, not without a fight, bub. You know."
Yeah. Yeah, you clearly see his demeanor truly changes from there, especially how he talks to Carolyn.
Yeah, Kara. Yeah. But I see what you mean. For those of you who may be joining us just now, we're celebrating 30th anniversary of The Living Daylights, starring the one and only Timothy Dalton as his first adventure into the James Bond franchise. We are currently at the 1 hour and 7 minutes and 40-second mark here in the movie. So if you want to queue up your copy on physical media or a streaming service, feel free to do so at this particular point in time. As we continue to watch the movie, let us know your feelings, positive, negative, anything about the James Bond universe or the Timothy Dalton era. Let us know in the comments. Share this video, like, comment, share it with all 800 of your closest friends because they're going to like the way they look after watching the 35th anniversary watch-along celebration of The Living Daylights. I guarantee it. Once again, our panelists tonight are I am Ryan of Nerd Culture, joined by Dylan and Ryan Payne, because apparently one Ryan wasn't enough, so we had to get another one. So we have two Ryans here on set, and it's great, it's glorious, and we're all having a wonderful time. And then you know what? The truth is, yeah, I got the message. As Timothy Dalton once said earlier on in this film. So there you go. That is where we are in the film. So what are some of the, and we've already talked about some of the things we've already liked and some of the things we've noticed here in the film. Anything else stand out as we go throughout the course of this movie? Because now Bond is trailing Pushkin, played by John Rhys Davies. Maybe Pushkin has information about Koskov that James Bond doesn't know yet. We'll find out soon enough.
I think I do know that, well, at least with Pushkin, though. I do like how, once again, I mean, because the film was released around the 80s during the time of the Cold War, they really are playing on, like, there really is no good or bad. Like, sure, the British are part of the Western Front, so during the Cold War, in any movie released in that time, they'd be the good guys, and the Russians would be the bad guys. But we're clearly seeing here is like, no, there is Russians are the bad guys. They just want to stop someone from who they think is a defector, and they have their own agendas.
That's true. So now we
that's
see
one thing I
Pushkin.
like, the balancing act. The balancing acts they do with Pushkin as the Russian, and then of course with Bond's government, that the truly evil guys is Koskov and Necros and Whitaker. They're the evil ones.
I don't remember, and someone needs to correct me if I'm wrong, but is Pushkin meeting with his mistress, or is this his wife?
That I thought at first, rewatching, I thought it was his wife, because when they do the whole like assassination, he's in front of his wife. But I'm thinking maybe it could be his mistress. It can't remember. I
can't remember either. Because she makes an appearance, the wife does, in another sequence. I just can't remember if it's the same person, or am I thinking of two different people? Does anyone else have any information on that in the backstage, or maybe the comments section? Let us know. I'm very curious. Because they look very similar between this woman and this sequence.
No,
the
wife she had short. The wife, she had short hair. So this is the mistress.
This is the mistress that he's meeting up with in the hotel. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Because he's got the flowers, he's got the box full of chocolates or something like that. I don't know.
Which at the same time, now looking at what happens later on with the assassination, it's clear he's obviously not a good husband.
No. I do like the suit that Bond is wearing in this and how serious he's taking this. He's like, "Where's Koskov? Two of our agents are dead." You know, he's just gritty. He's very serious about this. He's like, "Don't mess with me, or I will put a bullet in your skull." You know,
I do love what he just said. You should have brought lilies instead.
Yeah, you should have brought lilies. Yeah, should have brought lilies. Where's Koskov? Where is he? God, Timothy Dalton is such a sharp actor. Such a sharp actor.
Yeah. It is sad that America, that this was when he was introduced to America as Bond, and then later on, like, especially seeing the projects he does later, God, it really is messed up that he did not get a longer run. I would have loved to have seen how Dalton would have been with Bond, especially if GoldenEye was meant to be the third film after License to Kill.
I think it was. I think Timothy Dalton was originally supposed to be in GoldenEye, and the rights issues and everything else happened, and then he ended up being Pierce Brosnan getting the role instead of Timothy continuing. And then, by the time the rights were settled, Timothy was 6 years. He's 6 years older. He's thinking, I'm probably too old to play this role. I can't do it. You know, and then he moved on, and then Pierce Brosnan came in, and booyah, did we get a great film with Goldeneye? Look, that is for sure.
Oh my god, the way it. I'm like, yeah, that's how you distract a guard.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so I was going to say that's one way to get it done.
Yep.
Oh, Timothy Dalton looks so. And then, isn't it crazy though that he goes from playing James Bond for 2 films for 2 years, and then 2 years after that he plays the bad guy in The Rocketeer.
No, yeah,
which is
that
crazy to me.
Oh, his performance in The Rocketeer is very amazing. How
you like that part? Did you like his character? I believe who was it? It was Neville Sinclair. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just rewatched Rocketeer a few weeks ago, Ryan. I don't love it like I did when I was a kid, but I get a bit of a kick out of it, especially with Timothy Dalton playing the antagonist.
Well, yeah, it's much better because Timothy Dalton, even though his character is kind of like a saboteur, he's kind of playing him the way like a spy. So when you're seeing him like trying to he's pretending to be this great actor, but secretly he's working for the German government. I like how he's just kind of like he's a man in the middle where he's just like, look, I do what I can to survive. So
yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say at the end when he does that line to Jennifer Connelly, it's like it wasn't
Miss Hollywood.
And like it wasn't lying.
And then he says, "Where's your stunt?" And then what was it? Cliff Secor looks at him and says, "Where's your stunt double now, Sinclair?" I do my own stunts. And I'm like, well, yes, you did because you did them in the James Bond movies. You did your own stunts, literally. So it's ironic that they bring that back. And the other funny thing was, and by the way, we just heard the news came down earlier this week. An actor from The Rocketeers, many other projects. He was in Law and Order as a detective. He was in a lot of other films. Paul Sorvino, who played Eddie Valentine in The Rocketeer, passed away earlier this week. And immediately when I heard that news, I'm thinking, oh man, Eddie Valentine's gone. Because that was the first thing I ever saw Paul Sorvino in, respectively, was The Rocketeer as Eddie Valentine, the leader of the South Seas Club. And he's also trying to get the rocket pack for Neville Sinclair. He was the hired muscle. So to hear about his passing, by the way, rest in peace, Paul Sorvino, because Eddie Valentine was a good character in The Rocketeer, especially when Timothy Dalton turns around and says, "Goodbye, Eddie. Happy Valentine's Day." I'm like, ooh, that's cold. It's cold. It's good though.
Okay, now just rewatch. Now looking at the close-up of the wife during that assassination, I have to look back at those 2 moments and realize, was that the wife or the mistress? Because even though her hair looks short,
it's tied back. Her hair's tied back.
Yeah. So I really can't tell if that was the wife.
We got a close-up shot of her right now. Let me see. And I think it was 2 different people.
Yeah, that really is bothering me. Yeah.
If someone wants to Google this in the backstage or put it in the comments, I'm curious to see who plays Pushkin's wife.
Or maybe look into maybe an IMDb or so, like if they have that plot synopsis.
Yeah, there's got to be an IMDb. Well, the IMDb lists the cast. So if you look at the cast, it'll list the characters.
Oh my God. So
sorry you had to see that, honey. I had to pretend I was shot and dead. Boy, he wore like 3 layers of bulletproof vests for that shot. Goodness gracious. Although I will like it when James Bond turns to the camera. Well, not even the camera. Necros is holding the spotlight and he just shoots out his spotlight. That was pretty cool. Which was a moment ago in the film. Now we're at the scene where he's in the car being captured by 2 beautiful women who are taking him to see Felix Leiter of the CIA. Which, by the way, different actor plays Felix Leiter in this movie. It's John Terry. John Terry plays Felix Leiter, and I know him best from being in the TV series Lost, and he was also in the TV series NBC's Las Vegas as Josh Duhamel's father. There you go. Fun fact. But John Terry's a good actor, though. I'm not dissing him by any stretch of the imagination. Good work, John Terry. that whole Pushkin's wife or mistress thing is going to bother me, I'm telling you.
Although,
I just realized.
I did like that little...
I was thinking about like what was he in Lost, and I was like, oh, he was Christian Shepherd. Yeah. Classic.
Yep. See, there he is. Look at him. This is John Terry, 35 years younger.
Yeah, that's right. I completely forgot he played Leiter.
Yeah, he plays Leiter in this movie, bro. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate too. I mean, well, that's kind of a good thing because then you would see him get eaten by a shark in License to Kill.
Yeah. which was played by the same actor who played Felix Leiter in the Roger Moore era. Or at least one of the films he was Felix Leiter in one of the films from Roger Moore's era. I think it was Moonraker that he was in. I can't remember which one it was. It was Moonraker or one of the other. Roger Moore's era, he did 7 films. That is just it's ridiculous. He got to do 7 films. That's just ridiculous in my opinion. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. Man, these villains, man. Necros is a good villain. Whitaker, he doesn't have much to do in this movie, but hey, it's Joe Don Baker. You can never really go wrong with him.
Pushkin.
Pushkin's wife, Pushkin's I think Ryan's doing research in the backstage area.
Nope. All it just says in the plot, he just confronts Pushkin in a hotel room. Definitely got to rewatch that.
We're gonna have to go. But well, you know what? The end credits will tell us who was who. And then we can. We'll definitely. Yeah. You know what? Just pay attention to the end credits because the end credits always do the cast first in this movies, and then it does the crew. So just pay attention to the cast. We'll look at it at the end of the movie, which we are not at as of yet. Just to let you know, we are not at the end of this movie.
Oh no!
She's playing the cello.
Kara just had to throw a wrench in the plans.
Now, for those of you who may be wondering where we are within the film, we are at the is it 118? Yeah, 118. 1 hour and 18-minute mark in the movie. Just so you know, for those of you who may be wondering where we are, if you want to queue up your copy right now, please feel free to go ahead and do so. And thank you to everyone who has joined us in the chat and everyone who has joined us on the panels. And I really appreciate all of your likes, your comments, your supports, your shares. We cannot do this without you. Thank you so much. You are why we do this. We do this to entertain those of you who may be watching or listening to this, to give you a little bit of a break, a little bit of a escapism, if you will, from the mundane 9-to-5 job. If I got to work over the weekend, whatever. We're just here to have fun, and we hope you are having fun as well.
And
Timothy
here comes that moment.
Timothy Dalton is very relaxed in civilian clothing. You know, it's something that I'm noticing here the more you watch it.
Oh, you
Don't worry. We'll find Koskov soon. It'll be okay. He's trying to comfort her in the room. She's upset. Kara's upset. The character of Kara is upset.
Like he's trying to be honest at this point, and then...
What did you do? Did you put something in my drink? I want the truth. Smokes about the sniper rifle because I was the one who took a shot at you.
And there he goes.
Something was put in his drink, and now he is being knocked the heck out. And now he can't see. Nope, he's out. And there's Necros to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
Along with
I really like it. He has to prove himself.
Along with Kuskov.
Chlorohydrate.
Ambulance. Being taken to the airport. Oh, they can fit that ambulance on that plane.
Kara, she just had to just throw things out of the way. I mean, Jesus.
Oh, just out of curiosity, though, I know you've ranked, and it's been a while since you've had a chance to sit down and rank your favorite James Bond films there, Ryan. But where does Kara Malove rank amongst your favorite Bond girls?
Oh.
Would you put her in the top 10 or maybe the top 5?
Maybe she could be somewhere in the top 10. I mean, she's not too helpless as much of the Bond girls were during Moore and Connery's era because they weren't because they were honestly written as damsel in distresses. She is she is kind of one of the more proactive Bond girls because I mean I think possibly I could throw her maybe somewhere in the top 10. I would really have to go through each movie and the plot. Although I would definitely put her above maybe a majority of the Roger Moore Bond girls, except for the one in For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, do you remember? I'm just out of curiosity. I know once again you got to go back, and this is going to be revamped, a little bit later on in the process. But I'm just curious. Do you remember anything that stood out to you in your top 10 favorite James Bond films? Do you remember what your 10 were, or maybe some of what your 10 were?
Well, I knew obviously Skyfall would definitely be in my top 10 because I loved it a lot. Casino Royale at first I used to just kind of like brush off, was much better. So I put that in my top 10. I say the only Roger Moore film that jumped into my top 5 was For Your Eyes Only. Because For Your Eyes Only was, because looking at all the Moore films, it was clear there was a tone set to where it was almost a little bit exaggerated work and Moore being very suave. For Your Eyes Only was, honestly, I would say the legit Bond film I could say that could have came after Sean Connery's run.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I do. Oh no, and Lazenby, he put On Your Majesty's Secret Service in my top 10.
Ooh, okay, all right. And plus, with On Her Majesty's Secret Service, we got the late great Diana Rigg in that movie. So
I would definitely put her in she would definitely be in my top 10 Bond girls.
Diana Rigg's character?
Yes, her character Tracy.
Tracy, thank you. I was wondering. I forgot the bloody name, but yeah, it's Tracy. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've seen that movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I probably should go back and watch that.
I do feel the same as well.
I haven't seen that one in a while.
But I will say that it's kind of funny because at least Daniel Craig's, at least the Bond girls in Daniel Craig's films, like Eva Green, she would definitely be in my top 10. Even oh my god,
Vespa.
No, not her character name. The other actress that's in No Time to Die.
You mean Ana de Armas?
No, not she. She's great. I don't understand the criticism on why people are saying that they needed more of her. There was enough time that we intrigued if she were able to show back up in Bond. But
the character
No Time to Die.
Yes, I believe you're thinking of Madeline's character. I forget her name though.
Yes, Madeline. Yeah. I liked her. I actually liked her character. She's one of the few, at least in Craig era, at least in Craig's movies, she's one of the few women that can be able to get under James' skin.
No, that's true. That's true. I forget that. Gosh darn it, her actress's name is escaping me, and I should know this because she was in Mission Impossible.
Lea Seydoux. That's the actress.
Lea Seydoux. Yeah, that's it.
Lea Seydoux.
You're right.
Yes.
Man, we're just all kinds of fun movie trivia facts. Maybe we should be in a movie trivia match at some point down the road, which may or may not happen in the families. I don't flip a no. That's up to the executives at the network, not me. But that's a good point. It's a good point, Ryan, that you bring up. Yeah. And by the way, just to give you a heads up, Dylan has not seen anything from the Daniel Craig era, but I've told him that he needs to see Casino Royale. He's definitely got to see Skyfall, and I think he should see No Time to Die. Those three. And I still listen. I have a soft spot for Quantum of Solace because it's a revenge movie, and I love revenge movies, and I still like it to this day. But I would put those three as the best of his era, respectively. When it comes to, I can put if you want to watch Quantum of Solace, I think you would still get a bit of enjoyment out of it, Dylan. But if you don't want to, you can just go to Casino Royale, Skyfall, No Time to Die, and then boom, good stuff.
Personally, to me, I actually like. I mean, all 5 of them I do like. I'll admit,
I didn't like Spectre very much.
I do like the Revenge Tale.
I didn't like Spectre. Quantum of Solace. I would rather watch Quantum of Solace 5 more times than I would ever watch Spectre.
That's not the first time I've heard that, but there are some people out there that actually do dig Spectre. Some people thought that it just came before another film that was well, I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to ruin it for Dylan if you ever get to watching it.
Yeah.
When you sit down and watch these films, Dylan, you'll get a bit of a better idea of what we're talking about. But there are some really good, if not most, like 80% of that era for Daniel Craig is really solid. So I would still encourage you to watch those films. I think you may want to write this one down, Dylan. Write down Rust.
Just look at how cold Koskov is. Just look at this moment. Yeah. Koskov. This is the one with. That's what I liked with Kara. She once she realizes that Bond was telling the truth, I like how she realizes how quickly she was wrong, and then just seeing Koskov be so cold to her just confirmed like everything.
Yeah.
No, that's true. And now we're in the prison cell, and Bond just found his keys on the floor. Now he's got his keys. Or he's got his gadget that's going to help him escape out of this scenario, I should say. Do not touch those keys.
Oh.
Just whistle. Ah, stun gas.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor who's in this scene, who's in the other prison cell, the opposite prison cell, who's going to help James Bond and Kara a little bit later on in the film, he was actually the main antagonist in True Lies with Schwarzenegger. Did you know that, Ryan? That he was the bad guy in True Lies? He was the bad guy?
Yeah, I noticed the connection, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it's the same actor. Art Malik is the name of the actor, just so we're clear. Well, he almost chopped him with that. Oh! Now he's getting. And now the guy in the prison cell is going to take it. Oh, chair against the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, he's chopping that chair to bits.
He's breaking the dude's arm. I was hoping at least the guy's arm was broken first before the chair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. What was I trying to say there? Fair point. Goodness gracious, what do we have here? Yeah, that's understandable. Yep. Just reading.
Not completely.
Help me out of these cuffs. Let me take this.
I really like that. I liked how I really liked how smooth he was with that. We're in the middle of a Russian air base. We're inside a Russian air base in the middle of Afghanistan. We're not free just yet.
Yeah, we're not going to get out of here that easily. Yeah, put on these clothes. That'll help. No, you may help me. Give me the keys. Give me the keys. There you go.
That's what I like about Bond's not questioning. He's just more like, hey, you want out? Here you go.
Just take the keys.
I like how it paid off later on. It paid off later.
It does. It does. Yep. Oh, goodness gracious. Which we will get to a little bit later on in this film. Some certain action sequences or maybe alliances that are temporarily formed or maybe themes also played out similar to this in a film called Rambo 3. Teaming up with certain factions in other countries, just saying. Oh, did he take himself out of the... I'm sorry. Oh, he had to take a minute. Okay. All right. I saw that he muted himself, but I don't know how he removed himself for the stream. I don't know how that happened. Did you remove him or did I do that?
No, I don't know. Because there was one time when you got removed at one point.
Well, no, that's because I had to step out for a minute to get another.
Oh yeah, so he's probably stepping out. That's probably what's happening.
All right, let me see here. Yeah, right, his microphone's muted. He had
Okay,
well, Ryan Payne will return momentarily. He just has to take care of something. But in the meantime, the movie continues on. The 35th anniversary watch-along celebration of The Living Daylights is going to continue on. And just to give you a heads up, we are at the 1 hour, 30-minute mark in this movie known as The Living Daylights. So if you're just joining us and want to queue up your copy on the streaming service or physical media, queue it up right now. Join us. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your feelings about it in the comment section below, whether they're good or bad. Anything you want to share about the James Bond franchise, some of the things you like or maybe you didn't like. Let us know any and all your thoughts in the comment section below, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to share this video with all 900 of your closest friends. They're going to like the way they look after watching the 35th anniversary watch-along of The Living Daylights starring Timothy Dalton. I guarantee it. That was a lot of words.
Yep.
But still.
Definitely.
But still, the job gets done.
That it does. Yeah. So we're actually approaching the climax at this point now, where
last 30 minutes or so, yes.
Yeah, is about to he's taking care of the I think it's opium that they're shipping.
Yes, the opium deal that's about to go down.
Yeah, yes. And then after that he's going to take his fight further in the war room. Going after Pushkin, or not? Excuse me, not Pushkin. Why do I always keep thinking Pushkin? Was it Pushkin?
Koskov.
No, it's Koskov.
Koskov is the one.
Yeah, because I was about to say Pushkin, but no, it is Koskov, and
It is Koskov. Yeah, that's silly of me to do that. It happens. I'm sorry. It's a mistake. It's an honest mistake. But yeah, he's going to go after Koskov a little bit later on in this film to get a little bit of payback. It's like, hey, we thought you were defecting. You lied to us, and now you're like setting us up for an international conspiracy. We gotta stop this and nip this thing in the bud.
Yeah.
Whether it's breaking up a drug deal, which involves opium, like I said, this is taking place in the context of the film. You know, when it comes to the scenario that's being played out here. But there you go. Oh. Ah, there he is.
Yep.
Or maybe he's taking a break.
No,
there you are.
Back.
My food arrived, so I just had to run and get it.
Oh, there's your behind-the-scenes story. That's why Ryan Payne in this case had to take a commercial break briefly. All good, man. All good. Because I think Dylan and I are on East Coast. You're in California, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, he's on California time there, Dylan. So for him, he's living in the past, whereas we're living in the future.
Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to get the lottery numbers and just send it his way. There we go.
Yeah, he's living in the past, 3 hours behind. It's only 6:41 where he is right now. And that's dinner time. That is prime time dinner time. Whether it's 6 or 7 o'clock in his time, that is prime dinner time right there. And I can't say that I blame him. Anyway, there's a little fun fact for you, for those who may be wondering. We're in 2 different time zones with 3 different panelists on this show. Boy, that was really quick how this character got a haircut and a really good shave in the span of like 2 minutes. Isn't that strange? It's a bit strange to me. It plays out very quickly here.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, we leave in the morning. Here's some clothes.
Yeah. Kind of makes me think all that beard was prosthetics.
Yeah, there you go. Bond's thinking to himself, how am I going to get out of this one? I need your help. We need to stop Koskov. Got to go back to the airstrip.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at him, I do see that. Yeah, he is that man from True Lies.
Yep, it's that character. It's the same actor, just who plays a different character. Yep, same guy. Art Malik is the name of the actor.
Man,
I know, it's crazy. He goes from playing like the good guy in this scenario to the bad guy in the next, one of the next films that he does within his filmography, which in this case was True Lies of 1994. I want to say 1994. Pretty sure it was 94. That was James Cameron's like True Lies, by the way. Maybe. No, it was 94 because I remember someone saying it. I think it was a question on the Movie Trivia Schmodown like a few matches ago. Or not a few matches, it was more like a lot of matches ago. Jeez. Ugh, so sad that MTS is coming to a close. I'm bummed. I'm really bummed. Because this season has been really, really good as like the reboot. The reboot has been so good, and yet we get the word from the higher ups that says, hey, sorry guys, we can't do this anymore due to lack of funding.
Ugh.
Which is sad.
That's heartbreaking. That was one of the heartbreaking parts. Like when they got picked up by Skybound. Great. It could last itself for a couple seasons on its own. Like it can still build funds for itself, but then they gotta let him go.
It's so sad. Yeah. For those of you who may be wondering, we're specifically talking about the Movie Trivia Schmodown, which is the world championship and the most professional league of movie trivia you're ever going to see on the interwebs. It's been a great 9-season run, but unfortunately, it's going to come to a close, I believe, at the beginning of, is it September that I'm thinking of, or October?
October
7th.
1st
October 7th, thank you.
Is the finale.
Yeah, it's going to be the Schmodown Spectacular. Schmodown Spectacular, yeah.
No, Ryan, it's actually the 1st. They bumped it up to the 1st.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they have been marked.
Oh, okay. So it's the 1st of October, or is it September?
No, 1st of October.
Okay, well that's
that's promotional material.
No, six days sooner than I originally thought. Okay, cool. Got an update. But yeah, for those who may be wondering, the Movie Trivia Schmodown was a great piece. It was a great piece of movie trivia. So if you haven't had a chance to see the Movie Trivia Schmodown, go on YouTube after you watch this show. After you watch this. And check out some of the matches, because Movie Trivia Schmodown has had some of the best moments in sports and entertainment. It's had some of the best characters, some of the best factions, some of the best arcs, and some of the best just people in general, who are diehard movie fans or just diehard nerds like ourselves. It's been a great ride to see a lot of different stars on the rise, and veterans, come back, and so on and so forth. But anyway, if you haven't seen the movie Shimoda, and after you're watching the 35th anniversary watch-along celebration of The Living Daylights, check it out, because it's a lot of fun, and it's unfortunately coming to an end after a 9-season run. But listen, those episodes are going to stay on YouTube forever, so if you want to go back and watch some of those classic moments, they are on the interwebs.
Oh my god! I forgot the rage out she had. Oh my god!
Yeah, she tries to kill him with a pillow. Apparently,
I thought was that pillow loaded for a second? She knocks that
I don't know.
bottle out of his hand so fast.
Yeah. And now they're wearing completely different outfits, and Kara's like, "You're not going anywhere without me." Kara Malove is committed to Bond now that she knows that Koskov is just using her this entire flipping time. So there you go. Nice little. Is that that's a nice sunrise shot right there that they just showed us. Nice. Good cinematography in this film. I mean, at least when it comes to the locations in certain scenes, anyway.
No, I'm not wrong. It's actually really good stuff. I actually like the locations in this one.
Yeah,
there's not many Bond films I've come across. Yeah, I don't think, maybe not since Living Daylights, I've not seen a good location shot of them being somewhere out near a desert. And that's one thing I'll give Quantum of Solace like some credit for. They do at least have some good background shots of being.
Oh yeah, dude, the hotel in the desert. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, even seeing them walk to even seeing Bond and whatever the name of the girl is, when they walk towards a village that's like on a drought, like that's a good.
Oh, you mean gosh, Camille? You mean Camille? Yeah,
Camille. Yes, yeah. That's it. Yeah, I'm not thinking so much on names. I mean, I mean, I'm not the biggest Bond fan, but I am a fan of the film. So, and also at this time, I haven't eaten so much, so my brain's not recharged.
That's okay. Enjoy your supper. Enjoy your dinner as we are going through the rest of the film. And once again, we are at the 1 hour 39-minute mark in The Living Daylights. So if you're just joining us, feel free to chime in. Let us know your thoughts, whether it's through a streaming service or physical media. Keep your copy. Watch what is left of the movie with us as we reach the climax of this movie between James Bond, Kara Malove, his allies, his enemies, all that jazz. Once again, this is Timothy Dalton's first film as playing the character of James Bond, directed by John Glenn. And you have the theme song that was sung, or performed rather, by Aha in this case. So we're getting some good stuff here. And we hope you're enjoying this too. You gotta help us. You can't just leave. It's, they're trying to deal opium. Gotta stop this deal.
Yep.
Smuggling the diamonds too.
And here they
get
go.
Everything in this. You get the two D's in this movie. You get diamonds and you get drugs. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
it's a smorgasbord.
It's a smorgasbord. Yeah, there's a word I haven't heard in a bit. A smorgasbord. It's funny. I heard that word the other day, Ryan, when I was rewatching the classic B-level horror film known as Tremors. You remember Tremors?
I have yet to watch that. That's the one film I've never been able to watch on streaming that I couldn't pay for. But now I found that it's available, so I can finally watch it.
Oh, you got to get on that, dude, because I rewatched it on demand because the Sci-Fi Channel had it for free on demand until like the end of this month. So I only had like 2 or 3 days left before, would have left the on-demand portion of the service. So I went on there and I watched it, and I realized, dude, this film is freaking great. I mean, granted, when I was a kid and you're watching it, I'm terrified because it's a horror film. To a certain degree, it's a B-level horror film, and it is. And I got scared out of my wits because of the graboids. But then I go back and watch it, and I'm like, dude, this film is freaking awesome. This movie's so good. So yeah, Tremors, they do mention the word smorgasbord when Kevin Bacon grabs the map off the wall of the shop that they're currently in, trying to figure out a plan to get out. He says, "This valley is just one long smorgasbord. We have got to get out." That's a line from Tremors that has nothing to do with The Living Daylights, but there's a quick line from you from the 1990 film Tremors, starring 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. Who else is in this movie? Michael Gross, Ben Carter, and believe it or not, Reba freaking McEntire is in this movie. Who'd have thunk, right? But then again, she did lead her own sitcom for like 7 seasons on the hit sitcom known as Reba. So there you go.
Yeah, that is
Enough
one thing I
said.
did learn. That's one fun fact I did learn about Tremors. That Reba McEntire is in that film.
She plays the gun-toting wife of Michael Gross's Bert's character. I'm like, oh my god, this is such a bit of a departure from her time on Reba the sitcom. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know. But if you haven't seen the movie Tremors,
No,
from the
she
year
had her own
1990,
sitcom. Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to check it out. By the way, which streaming service is it on, Ryan?
I found that it's available on Peacock.
Oh, right, because it's a Universal film? Yeah, Universal is Peacock. Yeah, never mind. That's the same thing as NBC Universal. Okay, got it. So yeah, it's on Peacock.
I had no idea about distributing right. I just found it was on Peacock. I'm going, yeah, I can finally watch that before it's
Yeah,
gone.
it's a Universal film. So if you go back, I think all 7 of them, by the way, there are 7 Tremors films. I'm serious.
That's one thing I did know.
There's 7 of them, and I believe only 2 of them were theater-based. The rest of them were straight to video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If anyone's curious about what I was, Tremors. I don't know. Dylan, are you familiar with Tremors?
The most I know is that I knew I saw a poster for it in a dorm that I used to live in, but like,
oh my god.
So because I'm looking it up right now, and it's like apparently there was a TV series.
There was a TV series too.
So I'm getting Tremors, Shrieker Island, Tremors 2 Aftershocks.
Yep, Tremors 3 Back to Perfection.
Tremors 4 Legend Begins.
Which was a prequel to the original 3.
How do you make? I mean, how do you make
got a
7
huge?
films?
I think because the first one got such a great response, it got like a cult following after it came out. So then they just went ahead and did the sequels, and then when the second one, which I haven't looked up the fun facts of this yet. Please forgive me that I haven't. I think Tremors 2 bombed.
I think also the following, it developed a big following. Like,
yeah, but I think that didn't the second film like bomb theatrically, but it's still like the cult following was still there, so they still kept making them. They just made them straight to video.
Yes, it did. I'm not sure about
yeah.
it, but it didn't make the money that the first one did.
Okay, well, if the second one made the same amount of money, then yeah, that's why they kept making it, because they're like, hey, this has a bit of a fan following. Let's just make them, but let's make them for a little bit cheaper and just put them out on straight to video, so we don't have to spend a couple more $1 million on the visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Even though I will say the visual effects in Tremors 3 are pretty good in comparison to the first 2. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. If you do research on it, maybe I'm correct or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But anyway, Dylan, bottom line is Ryan Payne and myself are just giving you more homework.
Oh, of course.
I mean, we're just giving
you homework for myself too, having never seen Tremors.
Oh, okay. Well, then, Ryan Payne's never seen Tremors, so you got to go back and watch it now that you know it's available on the streaming service simply known as Peacock, which, by the way, that's the NBC Universal streaming service, in case anyone doesn't know what that is yet.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I don't know how much it costs to do a monthly subscription to Peacock, but I don't know. If you feel like going back in and watching all 7 movies, let me know.
Mm.
I remember.
I'm debating.
I'm
debating my streamer lineup.
Yeah,
because I just saw Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe on Paramount.
Oh my god!
Oh, and it was such a joy. Like, I've always loved Beavis and Butthead, and it was just like, oh, it's the Beavis and Butthead I've known, transported quite literally into 2022.
Check it out, baby. We got a new movie out now on streaming. What the heck is streaming? So I'm just sorry, guys. We're breaking out of the characters here, but even so, I grew up on Beavis and Butthead Do America, but I've not seen Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe or Return to the Universe, whatever the frack it is.
Do the Universe.
Do the Universe. Thank you. But I will say this: The Living Daylights is having a very heavy, action-packed climax right now, where Bond is on a plane trying to get rid of the opium and making sure that this deal does not come to pass.
Yep.
And Cara Malove is being told to stay put, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back and get you at the end of the film. But Cara Malove is not very patient, so she is going to use her wits and her whatever it is, and go after James Bond to make sure that he knows that she truly loves him and that she doesn't want to see him get hurt. And can I get on this plane with you even though you're about to fly off?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's basically what I was trying to tell you. Anyway, how do we feel about this climax here? How do we feel about the choreography of people running around and guns being blazing? How do we feel about this?
I mean, it's an honestly,
it's typical.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's nothing spectacular, is what you're trying to say. Oh, what about that?
Yeah.
Crazy planes. Oh, goodness gracious. Where are we? We are an hour 47 minutes into this movie. Just so you know, for the Living Daylights 35th anniversary celebration / watch along. Yeah, this doesn't seem too spectacular to me. It just seems kind of basic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me put it to you this way. This is nowhere near as exciting as the scene in the desert in the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with the tank chase there, Ryan. It's no tank chase from 1989. I'm just saying.
No, it's not.
No, not even close. But you got a plane trying to take off, and Kara's like, "Wait for me." Look at her. She's taking action right now. She's beating the heck out of this one dude. Like, get away from me. I got this. Go, my friend. Go, go. Fly away. Fly away.
Yeah, it's kind of her stubbornness. It's kind of what makes her kind of a good foil a little bit with Bond. Because you kind of see that she's not someone she's not looking to be taken advantage of.
Man, bullets are flying all over this airfield.
Yeah.
Like, we can't get in the truck. We can't get in the truck. Has anyone seen the movie Rambo 3? Has anyone seen that? Okay. So Dylan hasn't seen it. Ryan, have you seen any of the Rambo franchise?
Yes, I have. Although for part 2 and 3, I came across those like halfway into the films. So so technically in the technical standpoint, I have seen them.
Okay, because certain scenes are somewhat similar in this movie as they are to Rambo 3. Certain scenes, not everything, but just certain little elements of them. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, a certain backdrop, like a big.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
yeah, with the desert scene and the soldiers running rampant. You know what I mean? Whoa, she got thrown from the horse. Doesn't seem to really bother her though. Seems like she barely got scraped in that sequence. Anyone notice that when she got knocked off the horse? She barely gets what's the word I'm looking for? She barely gets bruised or scathed.
Ruffled up. Bruised or scraped.
Bruised up, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, like cut up, bruised up? I don't know what she's trying to say. But anyway, she's in a Jeep right now, and some dude's trying to jump on it and get her out of there. It's not happening, fellas. It's not happening. Get out. Get out. Let me use the windshield wipers. Maybe that'll get him off the hood. Falls to the ground. You know what I mean? Driving in the Jeep. Now she's getting shot at. Yeah. Goodness gracious. James! Don't leave without me! You know.
And he's like, I wish he could just yell, like, I got a bomb on here!
Like, what are you doing? But then he tells her, go to the back of the plane. Go to the back of the plane. I'm going to lower the ramp. It's kind of, it's nothing like it, but I'm just saying it's somewhat similar when Tom Cruise jumps on the side of the plane in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and he says, hey, Benji, open the door.
Open the door.
No, the other door. Remember that, Ryan? That happens in it's Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation. Which, by the way, are you excited for next year's Dead Protocol Part 1? Are you excited about that?
I'm definitely excited. I recently rewatched all the Mission Impossible films, and nice. I really am looking forward to the next ones coming up. And
Haley Atwell is in it.
Yeah, Haley Atwell. I'm also excited seeing the return of Kitson. No, wait, what's the name of the? Oh my God,
it's like Kitson or.
Yeah, he
no,
was
it's
the CIA.
Kittredge.
Kittredge, yes, Kittredge. I'm actually excited to see his return after hearing his voice in the trailer. I'm going.
That was a
they're bringing.
huge surprise. Huge surprise,
Yeah,
in my opinion. I did not see that one coming. When I first hear his voice, I'm like, wait a minute, why is this? What is going on here? Why does this sound just a tad from the? And then you see his face. He's like, your days of saving the world are over. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you've been gone for like 25 years. Where have you been?
Like, what is his role in this? Like, is he still part of the CIA, or is he part of this?
Ryan? Do you think he's the antagonist? Do you think he's the bad guy?
I hope not. I mean, I hope that's just a mislead.
I mean, it could be, because the trailer is only 2 minutes long and it gives away a couple of different things, but it doesn't really give away a whole lot in terms of the plot. It just gives you flashes of different characters doing very serious things, including Haley Atwell's like in a speeding car with Tom Cruise. Then she's in a train that's about to go over the ledge, and then she's running through like this giant hallway or something like that. And then Tom Cruise takes out this magic looking key and shows it to her, and I'm thinking, what the heck is this key? Like, because clearly it's the MacGuffin. Clearly, I think it's the MacGuffin of the whole movie. So
maybe it's the MacGuffin, or maybe it's kind of like just something that's important to her, and then all of a sudden it realizes it's not important at all.
I don't know, but either way, it's a heck of a good-looking trailer. And if you haven't seen the trailer for something that's not James Bond related, but it does deal with secret agents to a certain degree. You got Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 that's coming out next year.
That is it.
Dead Reckoning. Yeah, sorry. Is it Dead Reckoning? Is that what I said? Sorry.
Well, I knew it had "dead" in the title, so I wasn't sure. But
it's Dead Reckoning Part 1. So that comes out next year, and then we're also going to get John Wick Chapter 4 next year, which the teaser trailer dropped for that at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend. And by the way, that trailer looks freaking awesome. So
yeah,
this is my 2 cents of the matter.
No, I thought it was fantastic. It definitely looks like there's going to be a war. A
huge war with the round table. The round table, dude.
Yeah. And we're actually going to see John Wick be the boogeyman,
I would like to see that, because
that's what it definitely feels like it, honestly.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job in the last 3. But anyway, so this is a huge stunt that is commencing here right now. You got James Bond and Necros hanging for dear life off the back of a cargo net that is full of bags of opium, and Necros is trying to kill James Bond, but James Bond has the upper hand. In a way, he's going to pull an Obi-Wan Kenobi and say, hey, I got the high ground. You don't. And he's going to take that knife, and he's going to slowly, inch by inch by inch, he's going to cut off the boot that he's wearing, that Necros is holding on for dear life, which is, it's cold-blooded. And by the way, the bags are flying everywhere because he just cut half the cargo. He cut off a hole in the cargo net that is the bags are flying out of. Now, is the bomb one of them? We don't know.
And not to mention, he also has a bomb in one of those bags of heroin. So
and
that's also adding a ticking clock to the to the tension.
Look at this. He's got 1 minute and 7 seconds left.
There goes that opium.
One of the other pieces of the rope is about to come off. Do you notice that? 50 seconds. 50 seconds. Oh, look at this now. He's chopping off the boot. You see that? He's cutting off laces.
Showing that close up on that rope coming apart.
You think you're going to take me down? No. I'm going to take you down. That boot. Isn't it funny that his character, Alec Trevelyan, holds on to James Bond's boot? Or no, James Bond holds on to his boot at the very end. He says, "For England, James?" "No, for me." Drops him. And then he drops him off out of this plane by cutting off his boot.
Okay, I like the line I love the line he's about to say to Kara.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that James Bond literally gave him the boot.
Yeah. He literally gave, yeah. And he's able to make it back into the plane because apparently the cargo net flips over, and then he's like, hits on his back like this. It's like, oh my gosh, I was able to make it up.
And then it just snaps off right into his face. Okay, he's about to find the one with the bomb.
Where's the one with the thing in it?
Is he?
Where is it? Do you know where it is, Ryan? Where's the bag?
It's in one of the bags of heroin.
It's in one of the bags. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the bag? Where's the bag? He's hearing a ticking clock. Where is it? 3, 2. Oh,
He's like,
disarms it with 2 seconds left. You believe that? Talk about cutting it close there, James.
Yep.
By the way, it's very convenient that Karamalove drives the Jeep. What happened? He got the boot. Boom. Cold-blooded, baby. He got the boot. Isn't it convenient that Kara drives the Jeep into the plane and the plane automatically locks the Jeep in with the mechanism? Did anyone notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in the
Yeah,
film,
I mean,
did you notice
it's
that,
clear
Ryan?
that she doesn't know what she. I mean, it's clear that she doesn't know how to fly. She was just trying to keep it steady.
Yeah, but because James told her, he says to her, keep it steady, hold it level, but keep it steady. That's what he told her right before he started fighting with Necros at the very end. Like, whatever you see, whatever you hear, just keep it level, you know? Yeah. It's kind of sad. A lot of
It's
people in
raining
Hollywood have
opium
passed.
from the sky.
Yeah, and then the army's trying to get away from another army, and then James is thinking to himself, maybe I can put this bomb that I just defused to good use, can I? Oh, wait a minute, here comes the plane. All right, keep it level. Hold it
Like, he's
steady.
got to help him.
He's got to do it now because those are his friends, right? They helped him out earlier.
It's like, yeah, I'm throwing you a bone.
He's opening the door right now, and then he just set the timer to, like, what, 10 seconds?
Boom! There goes the bridge.
Whoa! There goes the bridge, though, Ryan. Oh, the bridge just. The bridge is gone. The bridge is gone. Yeah! Everyone's cheering on the ground. Boy, that bridge is destroyed for sure. Look at that bridge. That thing is history.
The architecture must be that bad.
Yeah, he got the boot. Goodbye, James. Goodbye. Flies off. But then you realize that the plane probably can't make it to where they need to land because there were a lot of bullets flying and they may have pierced the fuselage. Anyone ever think of that?
Yep.
Oh, look at this. He's looking at the fuel gauge. What does that tell you?
Yep.
He keeps turning. Oh, he's switching off the knobs.
Losing fuel, Kara.
He's saying that we're low on fuel, or we're almost out of fuel. We can't land. No, we can't land. There's no way we're going to make it to. Didn't he just say, I don't think we can make it to Pakistan? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can. At least they'll be within borders.
Something like that. Oh, there goes one of the. What am I trying to say here?
Both the engines are out now.
The engines, thank you. I was trying to think of the word.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. One of the engines just turned off. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't another one just turn off? Gosh darn it. All right, get in the Jeep. Get in the Jeep. Get in the Jeep. Fasten your seatbelt. Oh no, he's opening the back door. That's what he was doing. Yeah. Gotta open the back door. Emergency release. Oh, this thing's about to fly out. Smashes on the ground. The compartment that's keeping the Jeep inside is unlocked. The Jeep is driving on the road. Boy, that plane just, you know. Yeah, that plane's gone. Plane's destroyed. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I know a good restaurant in Karachi. We'll be home by dinner.
It's like we just went through a gunfight, nearly a bomb threat. Let's get some dinner.
Yeah, the plane almost exploded. Let's go to Karachi, grab a bite to eat. What do you say?
And then after we get a bite to eat, I gotta take care of a treacherous arms dealer.
Exactly. Got to take care of Whitaker in this case, played by Joe Don Baker's character. Or played by Joe Don Baker. Jeez, I keep saying the word character. Oh my gosh. You know, I would have liked to have seen what John Terry would have done. I mean, even though he gets slight spoiler alert for you, Dylan. But in the next film, License to Kill, Felix Leiter gets his leg bitten off by a shark. which is played by a different actor, but I still would have liked to have seen what John Terry would have done with the role. You know what I mean? I still would have liked that. But
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. But that's neither here nor there. Look at him just playing with his war toys. Anyone notice that?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm not playing no kiddies game, Bond. I'm playing how I want to play it." Like,
yeah. It's like, this is how I would have led in the battle.
Yeah, anyone else still would have lost.
Yeah, they still would have lost. What's the deal? I don't get it either. Yeah, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me, man.
I love how he's just like, I don't give a damn about the heroin, but you burned up $500 million.
Want that money?
Nope. Looks like we lost Ryan again, but hey, he'll be right back. I mean, we're about to go through one of the weirdest little shootouts, but hey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, this little shootout here reminded me a little bit of, I don't know if you've seen The Man with the Golden Gun. Have you, Dylan?
I have a long time ago, but yeah, it's that kind of same thing where it's like,
yeah, that little shootout, like where it's going, oh my, that one bothers me. I mean, I understand it's like a Bond film, so they're like, oh, we're creating things that a bulletproof little visor for a freaking assault rifle. Give me a break.
yeah.
But yeah, just seeing him like start these little contraptions, trying to throw Bond off. Yeah, reminds me exactly of that little final shootout with Golden Gun. But they both end the same way. Bond kills the bad guy.
Well, yep, definitely does. I do like the toy soldier there. That was a nice little touch.
He's finally going to use one of his other gadgets. There it is.
I love how he uses that whistle to throw him off.
Oof. And there he goes.
Mm.
I love that.
Pushkin to the rescue.
Yep.
He found his Waterloo.
He met his Waterloo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he found his Waterloo. And Koskov just gets arrested. It's just,
I really love he's trying to sneak his way through here where it's obvious, dude, you're not fooling anybody. I love how Pushkin, he's playing the role. He's like, you're not fooling anyone, but I got something special for you, buddy. Yep.
Playing the cello, even though it's got a bit of a hole in it.
But a master cellist can still work it.
Yeah, that's true. She still can. So no problem with that. She plays the cello quite well in this movie. Excellent performance by Kara's character, in this case, playing the cello.
Yeah. And after that, she is just revered and revered and revered. But she's like, I'm sorry, you're not the ones I'm looking for. You're not the ones I'm looking for.
Yeah, James wanted to be here, but he's on assignment overseas. Sorry we're late. There was a bit of trouble at the airport. One of their friends walked in. Gee whiz.
Yeah. They're like, it's Afghans. It's like, hey, they're with me.
Yeah. That's true. There you go. See? What is it? World Tour of Karamalove. Karamalove. There it is. Hey, those two vodka martinis. Shaken. Not stirred. Of course.
Yeah.
Then
and
he's
it just sneaks
whistling,
up on him.
whistling
like,
with the keys there. You didn't think I missed this performance, did you? No. True love. You didn't think I'd miss this, did you? Really? Come on now. What else are you thinking? I mean, all right. Let me see who plays this character we were talking about earlier. Let me see who. Let's see. General Pushkin's John Rhys Davies. Let's see. I don't know. Doesn't say. Gosh darn it. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of The Living Daylights, directed by John Glenn and starring the one and only Timothy Dalton in his first adventure as playing the character of James Bond within the series itself, released on this very day, July 31st of 1987. It is the 35th anniversary. That brings us to the end. We are at the end credits sequence, I should say, of the movie that brings us to the close. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who have watched this with us, who have tuned in, who've shared your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, anything and everything in the comment section below. If you want to share something that we didn't get to on the replay, something we may have missed, let us know. We would love to hear about it. What are some of your favorite memories of this movie? What are some of your favorite things about James Bond? Maybe not so favorite things about James Bond. Leave any and all your thoughts in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. In the meantime, Dylan, where can the person watching or listening to this find you on social media?
All right, so I've got a Twitter at DG Cloudrunner, and I also you can find my games at silverlanterngames.com, and there is a Facebook page for it. So those are the main ways you can get in contact with me. I'm very accessible, so if you want to just shoot me a DM, fantastic, always open. So.
Well, thank you very much, Dylan, for being with us. We do greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Turn over to the other Ryan. Ryan Payne is in the building. Ryan Payne, once again, thank you so much for being here and being on this panel and making your both of you and Dylan making your debuts here in the Nerd Culture Studios. We're so thankful to have you. Where can the person watching or listening to this find you on social media and everything you have coming up, Ryan?
Okay. Well, people can easily follow me on Twitter. Twitter handle would be caramel_pain. Also, I did say earlier on, I do have a podcast. It is a wrestling podcast I co-host with my friends James Shimo and Brenton McPherson. It is called Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. Pretty much myself, James, and Brenton, we discuss wrestling news. We do sometimes a top 10 list. Earlier on, throughout the later half of this year, we're going to be doing something called editorials, where myself or James or Brent are going to take a topic, and we're going to spend a majority of the podcast really talking about, really giving our feelings on the subject. For instance, coming up next week, actually probably a couple days next week, maybe sometime around Friday or Saturday, we're going to have an episode released where I do an editorial on the WWE and how come they just can't book a babyface properly. But like I said, this is just an editorial, an opinion piece. It's not fact. It's just my opinion. But if you want to find our podcast, it's available on Apple, Anchor, and Spotify. We have two episodes released out. One where we talked about where we did a top 10 list on some of the worst tragedies to hit wrestling. And then also most recently, we released an episode before SummerSlam where we did a predictions podcast and we did our reactions on the retirement of Vince McMahon retiring from the WWE, where he's stepping down. I'll say that in air quotes. So you can find our episodes on Spotify, Apple, and Anchor.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan. Greatly appreciate it. I do want to say this has been a lot of fun. It's been great. And I want to say thank you, one and all, for joining us. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. It's right here on my name tag. Links are available in the description of this video below. Make sure you check those out. I got a lot of projects coming up. You can check out my podcast. It's called And I Quote on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where I interview content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We have friendly conversations and promote their projects. That is what we do. So check that out. Also, many people have been asking me, Ryan, what are you and the team going to be doing after this one? We have celebrated the 35th anniversary of The Living Daylights starring Timothy Dalton. What's next? What's the next chapter? And I said, let me get back to you. But now we know when our next Watchalong anniversary celebration is going to be. And guess what? You don't have to wait long. It's only 7 days from now. 1 week from tonight, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Three Ninjas. That's right, the original film Three Ninjas from 1992. Your favorite characters, Rocky, Colt, Tum Tum, and the supporting cast of characters, which are endlessly enjoyable. We are going back to where it all started from 1992. Sunday night, August the 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Twitch. Simply at It's Nerd Culture. Links can be found in the description of this video. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified of when our new videos go up. You're not going to have to wait long for our next anniversary watch along. It's next weekend, Sunday night, August 7th. Three Ninjas. Hi-ya! It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you, the 90s were a great decade, and this film is just one of many we're going to be celebrating as the year goes on. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of this. We cannot thank you enough. Once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. If you are legally able to drink, next time you go out, make sure you order a fucking martini. Shaken, not stirred. Because you have a license to chill and rewatch some classic James Bond movies, including this one, The Living Daylights. Take care, guys. Have a good one.